that we didn't have settled lines yet. See us in the papers, we don't look like common, but it's a no-brainer, we already rhymed it. I'ma take my time with it, show you what you got with it. Ooh. If you know who you are, then you already know who to try. And if you really want it all, meet me on the weekend. Put your money where your mouth is, put your my crowd is. Baby, put your hands up, we didn't have solid lines yet. See us in the papers, we don't look like common, it's a no-brainer, we already run it. Make a lot of noise, make a lot of noise. The girls make the boys go crazy, and the girls make the boys go crazy. I'ma take my time with it, show you what you got with it.
Now with Avisan that used to be on Fizz 6. So, there's a lot to look forward to today in this split that we obviously didn't get a chance to watch yesterday, but a lot has changed in the last 2 weeks, and we get to now see how it's going to work for a lot of these teams.
Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the dynamic with RRQ. I feel like we talked about it a little bit during as far as the Battle of APAC last week, and I felt like we saw some flashes from them as far as what they're capable of. No pun intended, but I think as far as I think the really big point that you pointed out for Team Orchid, they've really shown a sense of consistency, it feels like, over the course of the split. And I feel like APAC South for a long time, there's always been like 2 or 3 teams that you see that sit up amongst the top that have that usually kind of separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And it feels like this year that really hasn't been the case. Like, yeah, you can look at S8UL currently sitting in the overall leaderboards at 90 points compared to everyone else below them at like 70 some odd change. But
welcome to the
behind
stream.
that, I mean,
Good morning. Moran, I see you. We're headed to the Forbidden Zone. Good morning, princesses. Hello, hi. How you guys doing? Did you guys miss me for the Apex watch party yesterday?
Yeah, I'm gonna go team Ubi. I want to see how they go with Avisan. Obviously, losing Easy Flash is a huge
Hello.
member of any team.
Good morning.
So
AWC
I
कैसे
am
क्वालिफाई हो गए
looking
इससे?
forward
हम लोग
to
ऑलरेडी मोस्टली
seeing how
AWC
it will work
क्वालिफाई
out,
है ही मतलब
here today.
Apex के लिए
Obviously,
तो
Veneno,
guarantee
by the
है
looks
like
of
the
it,
way they are
is
playing
starting
like there's
the
no
day
way we don't.
as a duo. So not the best start here for Veneno, as we were talking about earlier. Q, that is a team that need a massive day today to try and cement not only just 20th position, but sitting in that top 22 position. That's what we're looking for.
Right, I want to make sure you don't have
What's
to
happening? I
fight
just
your
woke up
way through the
and
opens
apparently it is
again.
decided
Come
that I'm
split
not going
number
back to
2,
bed.
definitely a very good point. I think the team for me to watch, we were talking about them with the pickup, definitely going to be watching Strafing Flame and the X's over there at RRQ. Should be a lot of fun over
It
at
has been
Sioux
decided
Station,
behind me
landing
that I
right
am not
next to
going back to bed.
DCG and
Wow.
BCG. But yeah,
Morning.
59
Hello,
players
moron.
ready to
Good
take to the
morning.
sky because
It's
we
not
are
dominating,
indeed
just yeah, dude.
one. That is not in need of
We
a
are.
restart
We're
here. Let's
just
get
that
to it.
good.
Looks like we
We
could
are
very
just
well
that good.
be heading off towards the northeast here for game number 1.
Would be a nice
Guys, why is
wall
Jessico
zone to
not
start
streaming
off,
this
or
today?
do we head to Stormcatcher?
Like, I usually
Sometimes
watch
these
his
zones
stream
are
a
very,
lot
very
with ours.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So wait and see. Titan Esports Club would be pretty happy if it does rotate down towards them. BCG also would be pretty happy
छोड़ दो,
if
रहने
it
दो,
does go to
रहने दो
wall. And
एक
it does look like BCG being
बैठे रहे,
gifted
सब पिल्लो पकड़
zone
के।
here for game
उधर ही बैठ।
number 1, which is massive
मम्मी को
for
बोलो ना दूध
these
देने।
guys as well.
Yeah, BCG, one of
अब
those
बेशर्म
squads
में
that
पिल्लो का
really,
फोर्ट बना के बैठा
so
है
like
पीछे एक
they're not in
सेकंड
the
के लिए
sense
स्विच
of
करोगे
at
कैंप ठीक है
risk of
देखना
pushing out
ये
of that
देखो
top 20, I
तीन
would say
पिल्लो
today,
लेके
but
बैठा
for
है
a
एक
team
उसके
that would
सामने उधर है एक ये
really like
साइड
to
में
make
और
sure
एक
that
जो
they are
दीवार
in a
पर है
good spot as
bro
far
has
as
made his
for
pillow
that
fort
top 9 going into regional. Again,
Rajasthan
keeping
right
in
yes
mind
yes
that
yes
top
yes yes
9 is what
hello
goes on
hello
to
good morning hi
EWC. They
Varun
currently sit
hello
at
good morning guys
56 points. They are 5
can
points
somebody
behind
tell
Gen
me
G, who we had mentioned
why
are
Jesco
only a
ain't
couple of points away
streaming
from being in top 9 themselves. We've seen BCG be able to have
has he
strong days.
started
I
now
think it was their first match day. They were able to pick up a big
because I
double.
like usually watch his
Let's see
stream
if they might be able
for
to
the watch
kind of
party
bookend their split number
कौन
1 and
है
have a very strong finish here
कौन
today
है
as well.
पिल्लो फोर्ट में बैठा
Yeah,
है
this is a team that I had said at the start of the season that I was really hoping they would be making it to that split 1 playoffs, but they've got a lot of work to do. And well, today I think is their last
Jesco नहीं कर
chance
रहा
as well. Q,
Legacy is
so
doing it यार मैं वाइट ही खोल के
very
बैठी
tough
actually
times,
to
but they
it
do get a nice little spot here for game number 1. And as we know, the wall does get pretty hard to rotate in and come to that late stages.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of push over towards DCG with
We're
that
in the
could
zone,
very
we're in
well
the
be
next
one of our
zone.
first fights
Yay.
that we have over on that northeastern
Score
side
अभी तो
of our
चालू है
zone,
दिन
but
भाई score
at least for
जा रहा है
now, it
उसको
doesn't seem like there's any shots going that way. Again, I think
अभी तो
especially
चालू है बड़ी
keeping in mind that for 10 teams
परसों
in
रात को
this
शूट था
lobby,
सिटल में
this is your
कल रात
last
को you can
chance
say
at it. As
कल ही
much as we
सुबह कल दोपहर
sometimes
को
talk
मैं
about
घर
how
आई हूँ
APAC South loves those early fights, for the most part, we've been seeing the discipline. There hasn't been as much, and I anticipate that continuing to be the
हाँ
case.
ऐसे आज रात कल
RRQ
रात दोनों
does
दिन
seem to be
था
on the hunt.
It looks like DCG is chasing RRQ here at the moment, and I was watching NA this morning. They didn't have an actual ban either today, so it'll be interesting to see how we go for game number 1. As we can see, though, Team Orchid holding
Hello,
it down,
hello, hello.
having
Hi,
very
Kirito.
close by. So, like we said, teams gonna start fighting.
guys, good
here
morning.
To rotate in
बोल
queue,
डाला
and it
या
doesn't
कॉफी मालिक
look like
अभी तो
they
मम्मी ने
are
बोल बेटा दिया है
wasting any time in round number 1.
तो पहले मैं ये
I feel like
खत्म
especially
करूँगी
with the importance of the day, as much as we talk about playing slow, it's, I don't know. You and I, we were hoopers back in the days. It's that whole, like, get the first bucket, you know, first shot in the bucket, you know what I mean? Get those shots up and at least kind of get those pre-game nerves, pre-game jitters out of the way as well. We had mentioned S8UL heading into the day, currently sitting in the number 1 seed. And they have been consistent, and understandably so. I mean, Legacy, Jesco, Sharky, I mean, a trio with a whole plethora of experience. And I'm really excited to see how they look to end their split 1.
इतना छोटा दिख रहा है भाई उसमें भी डैमेज
So like
कैसे
we were
पड़
talking
सकता
about
है
it at champs, how consistent
Hello
they
Din
were
thank you so much for the
at champs as
membership
well.
good
They just
morning
obviously very unlucky in a couple of those games, but Definitely the best team in
What do you
our
prefer,
region
camp or
with
monster? Camp or
consistency.
best, bro?
The
Camp
scary part is
First
that you've
shot,
got
any
Wolves
day.
and VK now looking really, really good also. So for Team S8UL, they'll just be looking to try and get some good reps in because they basically, at this point in time, have definitely locked in Paris.
And they locked in Paris, but I think the big thing too, you got to remember as far as when we get to land, where you finish in your region does still matter, especially when we talk about those early round POI drafts. So surely we'll still at least try and, I mean, again, they're a decent lead. You don't need a strong day, but yeah, I think right now, as much as we've seen them maybe take early fights before, they're going to be fine with just settling for placement, knowing that that comes with a nice fair
Mic sound
share
low.
of that
No,
KP to
mic
go
sound is
along
not
the
low.
way. Team
Mic
Orchid
sound
already
is
has
not
made
at
their
all
way
low.
up into wall along
It
with,
is impossible.
you know, a very fair share of the rest of the lobby. You can already see up in that top left-hand corner.
इसके बाद
your
सीधा
screen about
रीजनल
drones in
फाइनल्स है
the
सीधा
area.
जून में अभी
Watch out,
मतलब
though.
10
Havoc
दिन
gets
में या
caught
कुछ
stepping
5th
just a
6
little
जून
too
6
far
something
out of
like
the
that.
building. They will take a knock onto Zoyo. They should be able to get back to safety.
And we have like
That's at
mostly
least the
already
good
like
news, but
we
you
are
gotta be careful.
qualifying,
You
like
don't want to
there's
go
no
down
doubt
to a
about
2
that.
when you're surrounded by so
In
many
Apex,
squads.
in Apex तो yes. Hello
Nice.
UV boy
Slow
जी,
going
इसमें
at the
RTX
moment.
नहीं है.
50 seconds left here for round number 1Q before we get into round at number 2. And as we know, a lot of teams starting to make their way towards zone. At the moment, it looks like Rendang holding out Team Goat. And Goat might be in a little bit of trouble here. But they will just need to rotate back a little bit and get a reset. As you can see in that map, the amount of drones that are out and about at the moment, Q.
आज गेमिंग हाउस से चिराऊंगी
Now,
थोड़ा
they
मैं.
have a lot of cryptos out there, as per the usual for game
Raka
number
na
1.
that.
Wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being our first.
Ooh.
Yeah, looking around should be our first ban here. Nice shots getting sent across. Rendang. You did mention they were one of our teams that is sitting kind of towards that cusp point when we talk about towards that top 20. Could use a really solid day today, and I think especially when we talk about the consistency that we have seen over the years from the duo of Lahim and Bastion, you have to feel like they've got a pretty good chance of making sure they get themselves yet another regional final appearance.
Holding a nice little spot at the moment, as we can see, though. Wolves going up against the duo of Veneno. Spades now going down. It's all up to Razi. Razi now needs to be careful. It is a 1v2
ये इसमें
situation.
2
So
जन क्यों है वेनेनो में
Razi
इनका
just
एक नहीं
needs to
आया.
try and get out of here at the moment, but I really do not like his chance. Also, we'll have to wait and see exactly how
वाले
it
घूमने
works out
चले
for
गए.
him
नहीं
moving
सबके
forward.
प्लान
But
कैंसिल
Wolves
करा
do lose. No name.
दिए. सरप्राइज है.
Good news is we'll be able to, or should be able to recover off of on the death
ये लोग
box.
मिस
They
नहीं
were
करते
kind of
शॉट्स में कैसे खेल
isolated
पाएगा.
down on
थोड़ा
this
प्रैक्टिस के साथ खेलो, आप भी खेल
southwestern
सकते
side
हो.
of the map. Will be able to recover right off of the box as well. Get No Name right back
Practice
into it.
करो.
They will be a little late
हर
to the
चीज़
party
सीखी जा
when it
सकती
comes
है.
to rotating all the way up towards wall, but you and I both know that's a spot that Wolves will be plenty comfortable in. They are one of our squad that is also rocking the Axle. If there were any teams, they would definitely be one of the on the short list of squads that I was expecting to rock the Axle. The Axle alter combo, when you think about how aggressive Wolves generally like to play, could be some, leading to some fireworks here.
Gives me Octane Rev crypto vibes.
Rev
That's-
Pain, yeah.
That's what it's given me, those vibes back to those days. But S8UL, they're chilling out at the moment. Nothing really happening, Q. I guess we'll go and have a look at the zone. And, well, we can scroll in again. That was horrible when we couldn't do that. So we'll go and have a look and see. And it's
Zone में तो
going
है
to be
हम.
pulling towards that northern side of Wall. So Black Hole, Titan Esports Clubs
Ignore होने लगा
really
मैं.
getting some good
कहीं आप
spots
drop
here,
in the
and
ocean तो
especially
नहीं.
BCG choosing the right place to play, considering they had the wall. But I do feel like
जब
that
हर
is
चीज
sometimes the hardest thing to do.
जब हर
when you're
चीज
in
सीखी
walls,
जा सकती
choosing
है
the
तो मैं
right
उसको
place to
समझना
play.
क्यों नहीं सीख पाया. डैम.
Yeah, I actually think BCG has the preferred building of the two on that northern
तो
side as well. Inside the ring and a
अभी
little
वो
bit of
चले गई
trouble
तो आप समझ गए ना.
outside the ring, kind of
सीख गए ना.
contradictory to their name as it's Goat
देखो,
who's taking the
सीख गए
fight. They'll be able
finally.
to clean up one, and now it's going to be up to the remaining two. But it's Wolves Esports who pull up and say, hey, we want to throw our names in the mix as well. It will be inside the ring. That's now taken out, and Wolves Esports look to play custodial duty on the remaining squad as well.
No name rotating in,
absolutely
being
destroyed in the
aggressive.
corner,
The
bro.
kickstart comes out, gets down a couple of members from Goat, and now as we can
But
see,
नया
the
agent allowed है
movement
इसमें
from
already.
No Name, he's gonna look
नया
to
agent allowed है
chase. It does
इसमें
look like
event
TYK
में.
get eliminated as well. So we do
अरे बढ़िया है
lose
भाई
two
Apex.
teams all of a
ये लोगों
sudden.
ने नया
And as
agent
we can
निकाला,
see,
खेल
No
लो
Name
अभी.
maybe just gonna have to rotate
Comp change, ये
away
change, वो
from
change,
this
कुछ
area.
फर्क नहीं
As we
पड़ता.
can see,
लो
OO
खेलो.
is out of there, so they aren't even really close to him at the moment. As we can see, PXX starting to rotate in as well, and it looks like they're putting the pressure back on DCG at the moment.
Yeah, DCG
अरे हो जाए
currently
मुरान,
sitting
go
as
for
a
it.
solo here now. Gonna have to try and find a way to.
चुप रहो सब लोग.
No, if they're gonna be
Sunday
able to get
सुबह
back
सुबह
towards
10 बजे
those
इतना
death
आवाज कौन
boxes,
करता है?
they might have to just simply play low and slow and out of sight and out of mind to just try and play for some placement. I mean, it's RRQ that
मस्त है.
still sitting right up on the
आज
other
नया
side
agent
of
निकला,
this
कल event
hill,
खेल
and
लो जाओ.
Dog Red is
जो
taking
करना
some
है करो.
shots as far as on the other side of our map, back closer to wall over here. Dog Red has the Kraber in the hand of Kilopause. Let's see if they can make some magic happen.
And have a look. Does look like we are getting into some action. Rendang now moving in as well. Caustic coming out to try and hold it down. Ronan, can he try and get the res? Needs to be careful though. The aggressive gameplay. Beautiful shots. Down goes Jack. Now all of a sudden, Ronan. Oh, he's going to take that. Bull sending this fire. I don't know if that's the play, but Rendang get eliminated. Wolves Esports come in for the cleanup, and all really that Wolves get is just some death boxes and some free loot.
क्या powers
But
है new
yeah,
agent के?
Rendang taking
है powers है.
that Void Nexus. I don't know if that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. इसके क्यू में
Where
ऐसा
they
एक
end up,
स्पीड बूस्ट
finding some
फेंकती
spot on
है
the
ये
other side
जिसको
and then
लेके
see
तो
what ends
सभी
up playing
मतलब
out
ऐसा
as far as that goes.
स्पीड बूस्ट हो
Dog
जाते
Red here
स्लाइड हो
still
जाते एक
on the
स्लाइड
hunt
करके
on
जा
this
सकते मतलब वो एक तरफ
southwestern side of
अल्ट में
the
इसके
zone,
ऐसा
and
ड्रोन डालते
it's like
सीधा
Kilopause said,
एनिमे
I
को
don't need
ऐसा
that Kraber
ढूंढ के
no
निकालता
bow,
है
and
एकदम
understandable
ये
'cause
देखो ये इधर
the
छुपा है देखो
wingman can be
देखो इसको इधर
pretty
एक कॉर्नर
darn
में ऐसे
dangerous
हो
at
जाता
close
है
range as
ड्रोन
well. I think
एनिमे के
also
पास
anticipating with more
मस्त है.
teams closing in on the wall, you're probably not going to have the time to be able to reload that Krabby Patty as well. But I don't really know if where they're sitting right now on this side of the zone is where I would prefer to be. You're going to be trying to hold the Wolves Esports out while also having to protect your six. We do see that more formal ring knowledge coming across. We talked about that building that BCG is in. That's going to be prime
मेरे
real
नाइट
estate.
मेंबरशिप
That's
लेने
the
बोल रहा है
only
अरे ले लो
building in
यार
this, was that
इतना
fourth
मत
ring that's going to be
सोचो
heading up.
मस्त मेंबरशिप है वाओ क्रेजी
Look at where BCG, Black Hole, and Titan
ले लो
Esports are. They're in a really good spot. So
अच्छा
it'll be
लगेगा
interesting to
तुमको.
see exactly where this zone pulls moving forward. But as we can see, Dog Red now maybe getting in to a little bit of action with the boys at Wolves. And well, they've got the legend loadout here with... It kind of works in their favor if they want to be aggressive. Oh my god, when it comes through to try and help, No Name nearly goes down as well. He does get away just in time. Kilo scared me as well. I didn't realize exactly where he was at that point in time, but Wolves now on the back foot. We're going to have a look though. As QWQ
नहीं मॉडल हमारे ऑस्ट्रेलिया से प्लेयर्स है एपेक्स के
Q, as it looks like a lot of teams are starting to go out with this rotating.
Yeah, there right now there are 6 squads on the southern side that aren't quite in this ring that are all having to make their way in. S8UL should be able to gatekeep a pair of squads that are trying to make their way in, and they're going to be able to at least find a couple of KP along the way. Also going to be able to upgrade those Evos. Of the teams that were on the southern side that were unable to make their way into the zone though, Wolves going to be joining that tally as ARAM seems to be in a tough spot over here on this southwestern side of the wall. They should be able to stabilize here, at least for now, however.
So they were moving in pretty aggressive onto Havoc. As we can see, PXX now also have their hands full on the backside of this. S8UL trying to hold the push off as PXX. They kind of need to move in to that northern side of zone, and well, S8UL, they know that to get that spot they need to be aggressive here, and it looks like they are going to move in as well. One man very close to going down. Sharky needs to be careful. He will get the swing. Down goes one, down goes two, down goes three. PXX get eliminated, and now we're down to 12 squads left standing. but the third party's come in, Q, and it's all about to kick off.
Yeah, this is where things are going to start getting a little hectic here, because as this ring starts to close, we mentioned BCG is building the only one that has coverage. Otherwise, of the other, 11 squads that are closing in, it's just going to be about who has the better gunnies. You can see S8UL has identified that there's a duo up the hill, and I think they're going to look to take chase here. Sharky able to find some big shots with the wingman. It will be an EMP that looks to hold them off, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
We'll need to be careful. The kickstart comes out, but it does look like Titan Esports Club have moved in the background. Sharky with the wingman is looking disgusting right now. Easy flash goes down. All of a sudden now it does look like Team Aram. They're going to move in on some action as well. Beautiful shots coming out. All of a sudden Song Yu's going to go down to the caustic gas.
Both are battle royals,
He
so I
will stay
guess that
alive.
part is
Havoc might be in some
relatable.
trouble.
Yes.
Sorry, they are in a lot of trouble. It's Aram now trying to stay alive, but with Axel,
Battle Royale
rotating
दोनों,
in
yes.
is pretty easy, but not when you have and W looking right at you as well.
It's a dangerous trio to have gatekeeping you out here. I mean, the good news is on the other side, it's only the triple blues, as we do see the top right-hand corner. Team RRQ eventually does fall. Team Orchid has Misu on the ground. You do now, it's going to be all left to know. Sang versus ARAM, and they will end up falling. S8UL also has made their way into the southern side of the zone. Jesco looking to be able to secure up a nice spot, but eventually ends up falling. It's going to be all left to Sharky.
Sharky now, the last one left standing. He needs to be careful. He's queuing himself around to find a safe place, but as we can see, Dog Red moving in. This wingman is being used a lot at the moment, and as we can see, with 8 squads left, it's in some pretty good hands over with Team Dog Red. Fafafif with the Kraber. They're controlling a lot of this northern side at the moment and doing pretty well.
They are doing a pretty good job as far as controlling their side here. BCG, are they going to be able to stand on their feet? Yes, indeed. They will, at least for now, and should be able to get back to the building that they had been playing in. They will eventually have to leave it, but it should give them enough availability to at least get themselves a quick reset. Dog Red will be able to slide on down, get at least some of the spoils that are left in these death boxes. But I'm not sure how much is going to be left behind. The question becomes, have you overextended down to the southern side? Have you taken too much time where now you're going to be kept out as you look to ascend up north?
As you can see,
12 points, yeah,
such a good spot
game.
at the moment in zone as well. BCG though, they need to try and stay alive, as it was just one man from DCG
First game,
doing
12
some work.
points.
Veneno Razi as a solo still somehow alive as well. Q, and we have
How you doing in game? Hello मुद्गल, अभी
left
just
standing.
चालू हुआ है first game.
5 squads left
6
standing.
games
and
होने वाले हैं,
over
अभी
on the
game 1 चालू हुआ
northeastern
है
side
and
of
we
the
got
zone, which
12
feels like
points in the
could be
first
the
game.
winning
We're
position. We
doing
talked
pretty,
about him at the start of
good
things.
start, good
It's
start for us, I
Titan
would say.
Esports Club.
Corner
Bearclaw
one,
Gaming will
corner,
eventually have to
corner.
move from this building here.
Oh, no.
And the question is, how many of the teams are going to be looking their way? We can see nades getting sent their direction, but this is going to be a tough rotate up to the north.
It is, but they need to be aggressive here. I like the play. I don't know if they got the crypto ult to hit. Out comes the ult to Q. Beautiful shots though by XXFPS. They all of a sudden, Black Hole have turned the table, and all of a sudden Black Hole, they get rid of BCG. We are now down to our final 3 squads. Dog Red get rid of Titan Esports Club. Now all of a sudden Dog Red in full control of the northern side of zone.
Yeah, I really like that spot the Titan Esports Club are in, and Dog Red comes in and takes it over. They've got the high ground. They'll be able to look on down as Kilapaw is going to be able to take some shots with that wingman. Lands a couple. You just need to make sure that you do not get caught, I would say, overlooking the solo, right? Because Black Hole is a trio. That one lone player, Razi, could end up being a wrench into the mix. It seems like they're trying to identify where the solo player is, but they haven't quite been able to find it. The question becomes, what's the first fight that happens?
Well, with the Kraber in the hand, all they need is a sneaky little shot. And as we can see, that is going to be the one. Oh my God, Fafafif nearly got Razi there on the head. Doesn't get it though. With the boys holding it down, you can see that kickstart coming out as well. But it's just going to take its time at the moment, Q, as the boys really not going to overextend Godspot.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they
Yeah,
have
Muron,
not
jawline
pushed
ban
down
jati
to
hai.
try and get even the solo that is off to the left. I mean, you can see Fafa Fif continues to patrol and look to the left with the Kraber, but does not push too far. Nice shot with the 150. Now going to be able to push down and gets one knock, but have you now put your backside
morning.
susceptible to being knocked as well, able to retreat back with the
Also,
squad
breakfast came
and able to
yesterday.
get a reset.
Razi trying to play for a second, insane. Doing pretty well, the boys, even though they were only a duo this whole game. Nice Kraber shot just to get rid of the drone. They will swing this. There's only one man left standing. It should be an easy cleanup. Black hole go down. Dog Red now trying to find the solo Wraith, and maybe Razi goes outside of zone and not maybe give him a kill here. No, they're going to let
Not going
him
to be the
have
case.
अच्छा game था इनके लिए.
Not going to be the case. Dog Red are going to be able to come out on top. A
28
big
points.
Dubberooski
भाई
to
इसको
start
छोड़
off
है
their
इसके पास.
series, and Dog Red
Wow.
is one of those
Bro has
teams
pink
that
swords,
has
wow.
had a relatively quiet split, and I mean, for them, their big goal is just getting up above that 20, into that
Multiple
22
लोग
spot
use कर
or
रहे हैं लेकिन
above
नहीं
to
वाली
make sure that
legend
they don't
एकदम.
get relegated. Great start for them here today.
Yeah, great start by the
16
boys.
kills,
Dog
16
Red. They'll
kills.
be pretty happy with that. As Kilo with 8, Fafa
Sunday को
fifth
इतना
with
जल्दी कौन
8,
उठता है
and
भाई?
Gapwan
Apex
doing
वाले
the job
उठते हैं.
of
Good
the
morning.
Crypto with 797 damage. We'll go and have a look at the
Apex
match
वाले उठ
summary,
जाते हैं
and well,
जल्दी.
Dog Red with a 28 point game
Chalo.
to start off day 8. We
We
got
are
Benino
number
second,
2
Black Hole third, Titan
in
Esports Club fourth, and Bear
scoreboard for today.
in
right
the
now.
top 5 as well. We'll go and have a look at the series overall after the first game. And well, Dog Red, S8UL, Veneno, Black Hole, and BCG will round out the top 5 here for
Your
game
still type
number
के according
1.
होता
And I
होगा.
guess the question
I
is now,
think yeah,
which
it's
legend
like at a
is getting banned
collective,
after game number 1?
collectively
Let's see
acceptable
it. I
time.
feel like we saw a lot of crypto. And
18
yeah, it is
cryptos in
indeed
the
crypto.
lobby.
18 of them out on
Damn.
the server for that first time. Get them
Banned.
up out
Bye
of
bye
here. No more
crypto.
crypto for the rest of the series.
Goodbye crypto.
That's kind of on
सुबह
par
उठते ही
with
काम
what
करके
we've
सो
been
गया वापस
seeing
crypto. अब नहीं
throughout the
दिखेगा आज.
course of the split. It's kind of been, where do we go in map number 2 and beyond? I feel like map number 2 has been where we've seen the most diversity. Then it kind of steadies back out. Then maps 3 and 4. But I guess the question now becomes, is
Final
Alter
के नहीं
gonna be the
लेकिन
next one off
last
the
day
board?
है विवेक ये इसका.
Have to wait and
अभी
see. As
इसका
Dog
regional
Red
finals
are
होगा
your
next stream
victors
like
here
5th
for
or
game
6th
number
June या
1,
कुछ
and they
ऐसा
played
है
really
regional
aggressive.
finals.
Q. I feel like they did everything right. They were fighting. I think they fought Wolves as well.
ये
and then
stage का
they've
last
just kind of
match है
moved
आज.
very aggressive
फिर
straight
finals
through
होगा.
wall, and they get the victory as well. I do feel like it helped the fact
पंचे के लिए
that
पानी रख के है. Done जेबी खुद
S8UL
मत पीने लग
decided to
जाना
move up
उसपे.
through the
ठीक है.
choke, which then helped Dog Red be able to rotate behind it and help out as well. So game number 1 will go to Dog Red here, and we have 2 more on Storm Point left, Q, and there's still so much more action coming our way.
The does also look like heading into
हेलो सिब्रजीत इतने सुबह कौन स्ट्रीम करता है एपेक्स वाले. एपेक्स लोगों को बहुत चिल मचती है
Razzie
सुबह
San Reapo's going to be on a 60 FPS
और
laptop.
दूसरे
for
रीजन
him. I
वाले को
guess it's
बहुत
better
चिल
than
मचती है
nothing.
रात को करेंगे.
But I did also want to point out, as far as for
इसमें और
Dog
कोई
Red,
Indian
they
org
dropped
नहीं
in
है
at
ना.
checkpoints. They didn't have too far
उसमें
of
आई
a
थिंक
rotate,
ग्रुप बी
but
में
we
है.
did see them do a pretty good job of controlling what was
ये A versus C
initially
चल रहा है.
that
ग्रुप बी में
southwestern side
B
of the
for
zone over
बटाटा
at Wall.
इंडियन
And then they
ऑर्ग
just did a really good
कंट्रोल
job of, I mean, taking the fights that were needed
Shift,
to be able
delete,
to
ऐसा नाम है
keep
ना उनका.
themselves in a solid position. They never held God spot until the end, but
पंची
for
नहीं
them, it was
पंचायती
just
है.
making sure that they were calculated with their pushes.
Yeah, they played well. They really did. From checkpoint, obviously didn't have to do too much from where they were, but they do have some pretty you don't know what you get with going to get with the teams that are around them. So, you know, you got Black Hole inside the ring, Aram, you have no idea. They could be super aggressive or just really take their time in what they're doing. So I feel like they've put themselves in kind of like a what if situation with that POI pick.
That's definitely going to be an interesting one. And I mean, obviously, we've only seen it how it's played out over one game. We still have 2 more to see if it ends up maybe potentially playing out for him over the course of the next 2 here. But I mean, I feel like one thing that's going to be good news for basically everyone outside of Dog Red after that first game, Stoney, is the rest of the leaderboard relatively close to the fact that Dog Red was such a big point sponge.
Yeah, 100%. Anyways, we do have 3 more games coming for our Storm Point games. Sorry, 2 more games coming for Storm Point games. And at the moment, we can have another wall. I don't mind wall. I feel like we haven't had a wall zone for a while. So I do like wall. And I want to talk about RRQ. What did you feel in that game? Now, obviously, it was a tough fight, that one with S8UL. Titan Esports come from behind. They grief. All of a sudden, team RRQ really not getting many points at all on the board.
Yeah, not a great start for RRQ, but kind of like I was just saying, for them, they'll be the beneficiary of the fact that other than Dog Red, everyone else relatively close. I feel like for RRQ, maybe if you would have more prioritized your first rotate towards zone versus counter rotating towards DCG, it was interesting. You saw him kind of like lightly push that way, but never fully push into a fight. And then because of that, kind of got caught on their rotate in. So maybe just as far as only, I guess the best critique that I would say is just be a little bit more decisive with your decision making, because this is a team we know for fragging potential. I mean, you put Easy Flash and Pricey
उधर कल्चर ज्यादा है ना उसका, हमारे वहाँ भी बन रहा है, पर हमारे वहाँ भी काफी females हैं, मतलब audience में भी, like compared to like a few years ago, I feel like female gaming fan base काफी बढ़ गया है
So a
पहले
team that
से.
definitely has to be on their P's and Q's for sure.
I agree. Doesn't look like we're loading up for game number 2
उनके वहाँ पे
as
पहले
well.
से वो कल्चर है
what we're
उधर,
doing
क्योंकि इतने
pretty
टाइम से कैफे
good
कल्चर, ये
at the
कल्चर,
moment.
गेमिंग
Everyone
कल्चर
that
उनके
is
वहाँ
in
है.
the chat, we really do appreciate you
हमारे वहाँ
guys.
थोड़ा
If you
आ रहा
guys
है.
want to follow all our socials on Twitter, YouTube, right here, we are the home of APAC South, and you guys will be able to
Hello
watch
Tapesh, good
every
morning.
split broadcast if I don't have problems getting into the game. But you will watch every single split here at Battlegrounds HQ. So we really do appreciate you guys all being here on this Sunday. And Q, like we talked about earlier, Group A, this is their last chance, right? So there's a lot of teams out here that got a lot to prove. And right now, you know, it's teams like, to be honest, teams like Dog Red, right? That team needs a massive block today to be able to cement themselves back up towards that top 20 spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Dog Red today is there, I mean, there's definitely a chance of being able to put yourself in regional finals, but I think realistically, your just best expectation is to try to, at minimum, put yourself above that top 22 mark so you don't have to fight through those opens come split number 2. It does look like we've got, 60 players in across the board. No restarts as far as for game number 2. And you know, earlier I had mentioned maybe the potential of seeing more Valkyrie on the board here for Storm Point. As far as our early picks that have getting locked in, there's a chance that Valkyrie could be off the board.
Am I still sleeping or you are streaming? You are not dreaming. This, wake up. This is real. I'm really here.
It does make sense that Valkyrie is someone that will be picked a lot more. Also, what I feel like Axel should be getting picked a lot more than what she is in Storm Point, especially with how much you have to travel. I feel like you can just kind of get to places pretty quickly with Axel. I wonder if we're going to get a...
I think we're already in the next zone, is what I feel. Personally, I believe that we are.
Number 1, BCG got gifted, and, well, they didn't do too bad, Q. They got 7 points, but they could have done a lot more.
Could have done more, but I mean,
Hi
I feel like usually that
आज और भी स्ट्रीम होने के बाद में, हाँ, आज 6 PM वाला Valo match stream होगा. It's RNTX versus someone.
6,
I think
7 point marker, 6, 7. Then you're off to a pretty good start. You have one big win on top of that, and you are all right. It does look like though, instead of Forbidden Zone, going to be heading more towards the direction of Sito Station. Good news for teams like Havoc. Also means teams like Dog Red and Veneno will also get some prio. Teams like Titan Esports Club over at Stormcatcher won't have too far to rotate. The bad news, though, could potentially be running into Orchid on a quick rotate, depending on how quick Orchid ends up leaving Command Center. For Havoc, we mentioned, also a pretty good spot here. You land right where this thing's heading. You need to make sure that you can dig in deep, get your loot, but don't know if they've got information just quite yet, so that could actually slow them down when it comes to locking in that nice secured building for this later zone.
I don't know. They don't really have zone knowledge, the boys, so they're going to rotate back. Well, by the looks of it, they're going to go towards Cascade, so I feel like Havoc will maybe be kicking themselves a little bit if they see that next zone pool. Considering where they were, they could have set up pretty nicely, but I have to wait and see. I think they're about to get into it as well. As we can see, S8UL, they're looking to rotate towards Cedo, as it looks like Rendang are rotating behind them at the moment as well. Team Orchid now, though, getting into it, I think, with Havoc and Noel Sang and the crew. They'll be looking to try and get some KP here early on.
This is going to be one of those where Havoc could very well be kicking themselves when they watch back the VOD. You landed at Cedo Station, you had no information, and now you've rotated right into Orchid, and Orchid has already found enough on the one. Noel Sang pushes around with the alternator, has been able to find a crack. There's going to be an assisted knock, and now they're just on the hunt for the last one alive.
Only one man left alive. Josie should be able to get away. Orchid now getting the cleanup on that as
Maggie
well.
go for pushing enemies can hide from the Maggie drill and Watson. Good quick double heal, no bad cell required.
Into Team Aram as well. Well, with 20 squads left standing, there was a lot of action just for a while there as teams are trying to rotate in.
A lot of teams trying to rotate quickly, so of course those first early engagements, no teams falling, but Havoc did of course lose 2 players, so Goosey's gonna have to try and find a way to figure out if they can make a similar sort of, I guess, luck happen that we had seen. Who was that? That was the duo last time around that played as a solo very, very late. There's going to be another one of those rats playing here relatively late in game number 2, potentially. You mentioned as far as for S8UL, they rotated early here into Cedo Station. They've locked down one of these more central buildings, and they're already up to triple blues. And with that Watson, they'll be able to play relatively wide inside this building.
Should be okay for now. We'll go and have a look, though, as it does look like Dog Red moving in to the middle, and it does look like Black Hole is the team that they are going up against, and it is going to be a 2v3. Gap Wang gets down 1. There's only 1 man left standing. This should be an easy cleanup for Dog Red. Looking pretty good today, Q.
They're getting heated up, and we mentioned for them a slow start to the split, but it's not always about how you start. It is indeed about how you finish for them. Again, still trying to make sure that they don't have to go through those opens come time for split number 2. I don't want to count them out of regional finals just quite yet, because I do believe with a big win and depending on, a big match day today, and depending on how the rest of those teams in that bottom 10 do between today and tomorrow, there's a chance they sneak into regional finals, but they're going to need some help here, Stoney.
They will. As we can see, Team YK now, they're moving in on some action. There's only 1 man left standing. QWQ get eliminated, so all of a sudden, we're getting a lot of action here in game number 2. Goat now getting a couple of downs on inside the ring. Inside the ring, gonna get eliminated as well. We have 18 squads left standing.
That's not nice.
But मैंने सुना कि लड़के लोग का अलग होता है. The action as well. Kickstart comes out. Black Hole gets eliminated. We now have 17 squads with round 1 a minute away from closing.
This time around, a little bit faster of a pace as far as to the start of the game, and we'll see if that continues throughout. RRQ has run into a squad. They've already been able to pick up 1. That's Walking L, who's been done and dusted.
10:30 बजे ब्रंच नहीं होता है, 12 बजे ब्रंच होता है, 10:30 बजे ब्रेकफास्ट ही चल रहा है. हेलो सिद्धार्थ.
Off to a little bit of a safety here. RRQ yet again playing more along the edges of the ring. They won't have anybody else more on that northern side, so they'll be kind of calm for
क्या मनन क्या महंगी वाली स्ट्रीम ओनली POV कल क्या हो रहा था?
Oh, they're holding it down at the moment. Havoc Q still alive, and it looks like they're getting a full reset here as well. So you look at where they are, Q, to where they landed. You would be pretty upset with yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate for sure.
जा रहा हूँ गया नहीं हो तो बोला अब भी जा रहा हूँ ना तो अब भी जाएगा तो फिर तो ब्रेकफास्ट ही है.
You'll be able to play it as a 3. If anything, now you don't have, you know,
कल ऑफिशियल स्ट्रीम नहीं थी. क्या बात कर रहे हो? कल मैं नहीं थी ना इसलिए. अब ब्रेकफास्ट करने क्या बना रहे हो बोलो?
Finish. DCG
what you bringing for me?
Spot. It does look like TYK just on the other side, and oh my goodness gracious, it's going to be the Hemlock and the D or the Diva.
That was a quick 3K.
That was disgusting, and it looks like they are going to just keep on being aggressive here. The Devo with the Axel. The kickstart comes out as well. It helps them with that fight, and they clean them up so quickly. And that is DCG once again starting pretty slow here in another week of Apex Legends. Pretty upsetting, as we know. Rowie has a lot of fans out there, Q, so they'll be hoping for a little bit more consistency from that DCG squad.
Yeah, definitely been a little tough of a split here for them. I mean, still definitely still time for them to turn things around again. All you have to do is make regional finals. Then it's anybody's game from there. And they're still in a pretty good spot when it comes to at least making sure they're in that top 20 for a shot come regional finals itself. We talked about the Watson and how that would allow for S8UL to really lock down the one lone building there. And
ये तो एपेक्स होता बाकी दिस ऑल अबाउट ब्रेन रॉटर जी. आपको तो मजा आएगा इसमें. तो चीजें हो रही है पूरा टाइम. आपको तो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा ये गेम.
Yeah, if it's not a Valkyrie ban, I feel like it definitely is going to be a Mad Maggie. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
How many we have out here, because all I see is drill on my other monitor. So there's a lot of Maggies out here in game number 2. Aram though trying to find a place to play. Now we do know that a lot of the Cedo zones do finish in this area, so not a bad place to play, but it does feel a little bit too early to play it here with 16 squads still standing. But I guess we'll go and have a look at round 2. As we can see, teams starting to make their way in.
तो ये जो खिचड़ी पक रही है सारी टीम्स एक कॉर्नर में. अच्छा है, इसमें घी भी डाल दीजिए. Why do you look like you haven't slept? I actually did not sleep. I was very super unable to sleep all night. I really tried. I thought that after how tired I was, I would immediately fall asleep. But I only slept for 1 hour. Then like I woke up to have dinner, and then I just could not fall asleep again.
Back up to, or no, not the shields. It's gonna actually.
So नहीं पाई फिर मैं पता नहीं.
For the med kit first,
but I'm here.
Fully healed up because you do
Doesn't
have that
matter.
pylon to help with the passive
Apex is love.
on the shields itself. I feel like as much as this might not be the safest of spots, Stoney, due to the fact that they have the Watson, they should be able to make it work.
सुबह लड़ाई मत करो, करना तो सुपर चैट में करो. I think सुपर चैट करना चाहिए.
This early on, but it is definitely. I feel like this is where Zone's going to finish. It'll be definitely very close to this area. Songyu and the boys just need to be careful. The best thing about it is they have a Watson, so they can stay alive for a little bit, but they will need to try and just hold it down for a little bit longer. But I don't like their chances that they have a lot of teams looking at them at the moment. And one of those teams, well, this is Titan Esports and Chong Bay. He is just sneaking up. He needs to be careful. He does go down. But he will be able to get reset. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and does the exact same thing.
See if they do. I mean, the good news for him is you have that Newcastle, so you pop right back through your portal. Easy to get back up on your feet, even if...
Is STL have fixed drop changes per match? No, they have fixed drop locations, Kylodex. All of the teams have specific drop locations.
But that won't be enough to call for their teammates to push through the portal as well. We continue to see the patience and discipline from S8UL as it looks like they've moved at least one building over to kind of scope out the lay of the land. RRQ now in a fight here. This is actually Wolves Esports that's on the other side. They've already lost Pricey, and while maybe they have the advantage in shield, they now have one less gunny. That makes things tough. It will be No Name who steps out, but No Name steps out too far and gets put down.
Oh, Strafing Flame now doing work. There's only one man left. He needs to get... Oh, he's getting shot by everyone. But Wolves Esports, they get eliminated. So beautifully done
Drop clash नहीं होता तब इसमें? No.
He just needs to get to this building and should
I mean, you can land, loot, and immediately go.
As well. Best thing about now is, well, you can now hold the box, Q, and get your man back in as well. So it's not really hard times there for RRQ, but at the moment, Aram, they're in a little bit of trouble as TYK, they're looking to keep their foot on the pedal as well.
Oh, the problem, though, is where these two teams are rotating is technically on the backside of where RRQ is trying to reset. So as much as RRQ might have been safe, there's a chance now that they could get surprised as TYK here is trying to chase down Aram as well. It does look like, though, will end up being just TYK and Aram taking fight in this building. It will be Aram that's taken out by the spicy soup, which in turn will also allow for RRQ to fully reset.
per map, per game नहीं, map पे, मतलब जैसे अभी storm point में तो तीनों storm point वाले games में same ही drop location होगा.
Being able to play out of sight and out of mind, they are now a full trio. They've gotten themselves a decent spot in zone. Let's see what they can do as far as placement here in game 2.
क्या बात कर रहे हो सीधा? सबसे पहले इंडिया में वॉच पार्टी मैंने चालू की थी, पता है?
Was I right? Oh no!
I'm pushed.
Back more towards where PXX, Havoc, and Veneno
पता है एक पॉइंट मिला है हमको अब तक इस गेम.
Veneno, what a good couple of games. First game they were as a duo queue and they, well, didn't do too bad. They finished second, but at the moment with the 3-man, they look pretty good here as well. As we can see, Yubi now, they trying to hold it down as BCG, Atino. I was hoping a lot more from being a little too aggressive. RE45 in the hand. Who is that on the high? I think that's Abby San, and he's going to have to try and stay alive here and try and get a bat as well.
Good news is that Team Ubi currently still able to have 3 players on their feet. I believe that technically gives them the slight advantage compared to on the other side of this fight. Oh no, BCG to get back up onto their feet. Meanwhile, on the southern side of the zone, it's PXX that is currently in fight over here. There's actually 3 squads, one of which was TYK that was eliminated. Havoc still over there as well. We jump back on board with BCG by the nut building. It seems like they've at least been able to reset.
Beautiful shots coming from Avi. Needs to be careful. He does go to the high. BCG, they're putting the pressure on. They have 2 downs. This does not look good. Avi now needing to try and hold it down. He won't. BCG just absolutely steamrolled him. And out they go. BCG looking pretty good here with 10 squads to go.
We were worried when they fell down, when they dropped a player earlier. They were able to get to a full 3. They will still have to rotate down to their southwest, and they'll have a couple of squads that will be joining them on that trek here in about 40 seconds. RRQ, we had seen them be able to get a full reset and hadn't been able to get control of this side of the zone. They're the only team that's over on this western side. They will have to eventually move from their position. They will have to push towards the likes of Dog Red and maybe even HABNW that will be in their way on this rotate in unless they are able to use the evac tower. It looks like that's the call.
We'll have to wait and see. This is where it gets interesting. They will need to be aggressive. So
सब देख लिया, ये अच्छी जगह है अपने दोस्तों के पास.
Just getting a little bit of knowledge of where he wants to land, and they're gonna hit the Valkyrie ultimate, I think, instead of that. They will. But this is where it gets interesting for this team, because they really do need this here Q for a bounce back in game 2.
हमारी टीम के लिए zone में.
Currently in 6th again, due to the fact that Dog Red was a point sponge in game number 1.
ये एक बंदे पे land
करेंगे. See if they can find themselves a nice spot to land. They landed on the southern side. There's only one other team with them. No, there's not actually. There's Havoc that was in front of them.
हाँ सिद्धांत, समझ लो, yes.
Off to the right, they do also have PXX as well. I think that at least
number 1 ही चल रहा है हम लोग
अभी. They could be safe to tuck around, but I mean, there's a chance that 2 teams could be very well pushing their direction in just a moment.
Have a look, Veneno now trying to hold it down as teams are moving in. Razi with some beautiful shots. Laheen goes down. That's Rendang on the back foot. We're going to see a lot of teams starting to get eliminated here, Q, as teams need to rotate in. And well, Veneno, they've been here for a while, but soon they're going to have a lot of teams wanting to take the real estate off them as well. Battlefield, Dogred, looking for a
top पे चल रहा है
to
मतलब Apex का तो कोई doubt ही नहीं
in
है.
games
No
number
doubt
2.
about
We'll
it.
have to wait to see how that's going to go for them. But with BCG rotating in, there's just so much to try and cover at the moment. S8UL going to swing the corner. Sharky, get that too. Need to be careful though. Where's the third?
There's only one left.
He's all the way out the back there. So S8UL should be okay to get a reset.
I think BCG also going to be trying to reset in their own right. Walking L, the only one left alive, and they're going to be a tough spot. S8UL, you mentioned, trying to see if they can reset. They will also eventually need to rotate down towards the south. You had mentioned this real estate that Veneno is in. I believe that on the other side, you do still have Titan Esports Club just next to you. So they will have a tough bit. It looks like they're going to at least send a drill across the way. And oh, that's cheeky, continuing to tick and claw away at the team that's in that other building as BCG goes out.
Oh man, that's just easy damage. So Spades really just needs to keep on drilling that spot. As you can see, that's not looking too good for the poor boys that are at the back there. That Q's going to hurt as well. Hab and W will be eliminated. So 7 squads left standing. Veneno now need to rotate in as well.
This is going to be where you got 4 teams that are on the northern side having to move in. RRQ still stuck on the southern side of the zone. Havoc still technically looking their direction, but as these 4 teams rotate in, that could get Havoc's attention for RRQ to at least get up over the hill and maybe establish a better position for themselves. Because you can see S8UL of the teams that have rotated in, and everyone sending nades towards the middle of the map, trying to get Havoc to move from their position. S8UL still on their feet. PXX looking to ascend up over this little mountainside. They'll be able to ring shots down if that's the case.
PXX now swinging the corner. 174 needs to be careful. S8UL now getting eliminated. We're now down to our final 6 squads. PXX in the
कैसे है देखो हम ये जो पेड़ पे थे ना तो हमारे ऊपर बन गए थे हमारे लेफ्ट में नीचे बन गए थे हमारे सामने बन गए थे तो what happens when there are 3 people around you know it becomes a triangle so when you're in the center of the triangle it's like not good.
They put the pressure on the last one left standing. That's easy flash. As you can see, he's going to get eliminated. That's Titan Esports Club moving in for the third party. Now we're down to our final 3 squads. Veneno, Razi looking to try and stay alive. Now, we've talked about it at the start of the game, Q. Veneno and TEC both need a big day today to cement regionals.
And 2 of them left alive
Bermuda
in this top
triangles.
3. I think Razi,
Mad
however,
angle
is about to see their final moments. I know the Wraith gives you a little bit of availability to be sneaky and make the plays like you see on your screen here, but it's not going to be enough. That means now it's Havoc and Titan Esports Club in an isolated 3v3, and technically it will be Titan Esports Club, who I feel like has the high ground, should be able to get an easy opening, but now with this play on the backside, there's a chance that Bombay could open things up here.
We need to be careful though, trying to be a little maybe too aggressive. Havoc though, nice cues coming out. Havoc looking to try and get a win here for game number 2. And as we can see, we still have all members left standing here, Q, for both these teams. Out comes the Maggie ball. It looks like they are going to move on up. Havoc does get the beautiful swap. Beautiful unarmed shots. There's only 1 man left standing. And Havoc take game number 2 here on Storm Point.
Absolutely beaming with the R99, and Havoc able to come in with a big game in game number 2. They come out with a dub, and off of the back of that will be enough to sit in that 2nd place spot after game number 2.
We Havoc with a beautiful game, 11 kills, 23-point game, and one of the most toughest zones to win at as well.
I mean, I don't think the cutoff matters to us, Vincent. We are like number 1 right now. We uske niche.
With that R9 to do what he just did was absolutely disgusting. So Havoc,
I want to PRB right back, guys. Okay.
Victory, as we can see.
किधर है हम लोग 6 पॉइंट मिले ये गेम तो पिछले गेम के 12 और इसके 6 तो हमारे टोटल है अभी 18 पॉइंट
in the top 5. We'll have a look at the series overall, and once it updates, it'll be able to let me know here.
Update karo. Match 1 tha wo.
There we go.
ये रहे 18 point over 5th right now.
44 points. Havoc sitting second.
पांच
Veneno third.
5
Titan
number पे
Esports
है
Club
हम
fourth. And S8UL rounding out the top
शशांक
5.
हमारी टीम मतलब जिस
We
पे
had a
एसिड
lot of
लिखा है वो
Mad
हमारी
Maggies
टीम है
that
बॉटम
game.
लेफ्ट
But
में
we
प्लेयर्स
have
के नाम
just
आते
as
हैं
much Valkyries.
उसमें टीम का नाम भी आता है
We're gonna
ऊपर
have to see
एसिड
who's gonna be taken off of the
तो-
board here for game number
अच्छा ही कर रहे हैं
2.
Oh
And it
my
will
God.
indeed be the Mad Maggie by the hair on your chinny chin
स्कोरबोर्ड नहीं
chin.
दिख रहा कोई बात
That
नहीं
will
मत
be
देखो
Maggie off the
Maggie
board.
out.
It does look like though we can
Mad
probably
Maggie banned.
anticipate that
Crypto
Valkyrie
done,
will be
Mad
off
Maggie
the
done.
board next, as
Next
we
call.
will also be going back to Storm Point for
Which
our
one
last
of you
game,
is
unless
next,
for
buddy?
some reason maybe less Maggie means we see more defensive legends potentially coming out. But I feel
ऐसा अब
like
तक तो नहीं
from
हुआ है
what
कि मैं
we've
एपेक्स की वॉच पार्टी
seen,
करूँ और
we will
अपने
more than
एपेक्स के
likely see
प्लेयर
Valkyrie
जीते
off the
नहीं
board
उस
game
दिन
number
एक
3.
गेम एटलीस्ट
So far, so good. I feel like the games have been pretty fun to watch, especially now with
Actually,
Mad Maggie and Crypto off the board. I feel like it's the perfect time now to see Gibby come out as well. It feels like the only real legend to kind of counter the Gibby now moving forward is that Axel, but I don't feel like there's enough Axels out there, Q, to really worry teams not using Gibby. So hopefully we'll see Gibby a lot more here in game number 3. As we can see for Storm Point, Havoc with an 11 kill win and Dog Red with a 16 kill win in game number 1. We have one more left to
चिटपिट
go.
इसमें ऐसे मतलब रूम्स
Q, and I
नहीं
guess
बना
we'll go have a
सकते हैं
look
like as far
and
as I know
see
you got
where
like
Havoc will land. Where Havoc will
No,
land
ऐसे
remember
कुछ
on
सीन
Storm
होता है
Point.
इसे रैंडम में
Yeah,
मतलब उठ के
remember
कोई भी
Havoc
इसमें
was the
कस्टम
one
नहीं
that
बना सकता है
rotated out of Cedo
they did
Station,
too.
right? They
हम
didn't
करवा
have
सकते
the
हैं
information.
but
They
I don't think
ended up
that
suffering those knocks because they had that
so many
early
people
fight
are
with Orchid,
into
able to get
हम
themselves
अपने
back up
Apex
to a
कितने लोग
full
खेलते हैं
3,
I
and
think
then
काफी
still
लोग ने
able to
खेला
pull out the
already
dub
Apex
is quite impressive. Let's
but
not
इतने नहीं
forget
कि हम लोग
also
इतने
there is
टीम्स
a
बना के
point there in
खेल
the
पाए
late
10-12
game
टीम तो
where
नहीं
they were
बन
smack
पाएंगी
dab in the middle of the zone and had
10-12
multiple teams
टीम तो
looking their
नहीं बन
way
पाएगी
and were
हमारी
still
Apex
able
की
to stay up on their
इतने
feet.
सारे
So
लोग
if
तो
we're
नहीं
being
खेलते
honest, an impressive win for Havoc in that last game.
30 people तो Apex नहीं खेलेंगे ऐसे डल में
Very, very impressive. And yeah, you're right. They had Cedo move out and they come back and win it anyway. So
इतने तो थोड़ा
with a nice
impossible
reset, I'm pretty sure they reset at Stormcatcher as well. So having not a bad victory here in game number 2. We have one more game left
Guess करो
on
शशांक
Storm Point Q.
take a wild guess तब
I guess
तक मैं
we'll go and
वॉशरूम
have a
जाके
look.
आती हूँ कोई उसको आंसर नहीं देगा ठीक है
Once more again at the overall standings, and well, you look at
ये
where
ऊपर दिख
Havoc
रहा है
are
मेरे
on
फेस
the
कैम के
leaderboard.
split
They'll
one
be looking to
standing
try and
number 1
cement their
yeah that's
spot
us buddy
as well for
that's us
Paris, and well,
That's
they're
us.
right
That's
there.
us
Q. So if
qualifying.
it's a couple
you look
more
at us
good
up there
games,
yeah
these
we
boys
qualifying
could
fam
potentially cement their spot
दिख रहे ऊपर
to Paris.
दिख रहे हम ऊपर
Yeah, we were talking in the green room, and we kind of felt that probably the safe teams going into today when it came to EWC was probably PXX and up, right? Because we expect VK Gaming, when they step out there for their final week next week, they should have a pretty solid game. And then obviously Wolves and PXX missing a day as well. But Havoc, if they do continue to pop off in the way that they have and finish with a top 3-4 sort of situation, they could also join the teams that feel relatively safe. They would definitely be the last of the teams that would be feeling safe going into that regional finals. But yeah, I mean, you figure you add 21, 18 points to that 68 mark, you're over that 80 mark, which is generally considered safe. So
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It is interesting. I do love it. Chat, this will also, that will refresh straight after these sets today. So we will be able to, straight after game number 6, once we've done all the stuff that we have to, be able to show you guys the ALGS standings as what they are after this block today. Remember, this is the last block. So this is the last chance you'll get to see teams like S8UL, BCG, Team Orchid. Who else do we have out here that may not be playing again?
Titan Esports Club's last chance, and
Veneno. So this is the last chance that we might see them. And for Veneno and Titan Esports Club, this might be the last time we see them. So if they don't make regionals,
Yeah.
That's it until split 2 if they're not in that 22 mark as well. So it's interesting. We've got a lot of Apex still to come, Q, but at the moment, so far so good for teams like Havoc and PXX.
Definitely a good start for them. I think when you talk about of the two teams we are mentioning going into today, right? We did that side-by-side graphic with Titan Esports Club and Veneno. I would say of the two teams, of those two that really needs to make sure they have the bigger day, it is Veneno, who's currently sitting in 20th going into today. With 34 points. And especially when you have teams like Dog Red who are having a strong performance here today. Because if Dog Red, I mean, they're 20 points ahead of second place right now. If they get that 25-point banger today, they will go from 18 points. That will then in turn put them up to 43, which puts them in the mix to make sure that they could actually very well be playing in that regional finals, which could then in turn knock out a team like Veneno when it comes to those regionals. So while Veneno did get a decent placement in game number 1 off of the solo, they're still far from being locked in. They need to make sure that they're on their stuff here for these final 4 games.
And what doesn't help Veneno also is that, well, Titan Esports Clubs at the moment, they're sitting 4th overall with Veneno 3rd. So Veneno probably hoping Titan Esports Club maybe fall off a little bit here so Veneno can keep on moving up without those lads right on their coattail as well. But with 20 squads left, we're landing in to game number 3. Our last one on Storm Point before we head to E-District Q for the back end of these games.
And E-District is always fun because it feels like E-District, the one map that gives us the most consistently chaotic end games, and knowing what's on the line, especially for a good majority of our 10 teams, it's their last one. We'll have to see. But, you know, we were talking about Veneno, and I don't know if the Apex Legends gods were hearing us or what, but they said, you know what? We got you, fam. We're going to send this thing all the way down south, and we're going to go down to Barometer, which is exactly where Veneno lands.
And Veneno be loving this. You couldn't get a better script here to start off today, that is for sure. To give them credit, Q, that first game they came second as a duo. They had the rotate from Barometer to Wall. So, I mean, as a duo, that's pretty impressive here for game number 1 and 2. So, Veneno looking to try and get a good start here as well. We've been gifted zone.
One thing that we didn't mention with this being a barometer zone, with a relatively quiet day thus far from Wolves, they land at Cenote. There's a chance that they could use this to kind of, kind of jumpstart their back end of their day. Currently sitting at 7 points. Good game in game number 3 could be exactly what they're looking for. So we'll also be keeping an eye on them as they won't have too far to go. But of course, we did mention Veneno will have, of course, the most priority. And there are already teams that are starting to rotate and make their way into Barometer itself. S8UL already here, QWQ here. Surely they'll know for sure that this is where things are heading.
20 squads still standing around now, just chilling out. Black Hole as well, as we saw them come through the open qualifiers, and well, they haven't really done much.
Hello, good morning, Mukul. Hi.
No, I mean, to be fair, I feel like most of our open squads have struggled a bit. But yeah, Black Hole was, if I'm not mistaken, one of our teams that was, one of our earlier qualifiers. They won qualifier number 2, and
time pass nahi karte
they have definitely struggled a bit.
Ek game khatam hua, abhi baitho 10-15 minute time pass hoga, fir chalu karenge. Share udia, good morning.
Red, who's also picked things up here, so there's very well a chance that maybe they can do it on the back end of this series when we switch over to E-District. But more teams have started making their way down towards this zone itself. We've already seen our first squad eliminated as HABNW.
खेला है हम लोग ने पहले एपेक्स का ऐसा इवेंट बताए We've actually done it
I
already.
didn't even see that come up on my board. So
I
very
don't know if
nicely
you
done
had seen it
by
back
the
then.
lads. As we
But
can
ये
see,
पहले किया हुआ है हमने.
HBMW getting eliminated.
3:30 बजे watch party
Early on
क्यों नहीं की
here,
Warzone की?
teams
यार
starting
मैं
to make their
Warzone का
way
मेरे
towards
पास rights भी
Barometer.
नहीं है
There's
और
only
Warzone
so
का मैं
much
watch
room
party
in
कब से
this
करूँ भाई?
area as well.
मैं
Q, as it looks like Team
Valo,
Hawk
PUBG और
might be on the
Apex
back foot
करती
here,
हूँ.
trying to find a place to play.
These games I like. These games I
Stay on
understand.
their
I mean,
feet.
Warzone
That's
भी
definitely
simple
going to
battle
be the
royale.
intriguing thing. I feel like Barometer, since there
It's
are
not complicated
multiple
to
levels,
understand. But
while you
I'm just like,
pull up, you might feel safe relatively early.
it's
The
like in
third
the middle of the
parties
night.
can move in incredibly quickly.
Hello
Look at
Nishanji,
Spot
good
down being on this,
morning.
not
Good
just bottom
morning.
floor, but down in the
कैसा चल रहा है
basement.
Sunday
While you
आपका?
won't have very many teams
क्या plan
pushing
है Sunday
down
की?
to try and bother you for your position, this is kind of a death box once teams do drop down.
I
your
don't like
direction.
doing it at like weird times, like
Shago
3:30
now.
a.m. Like no,
Just
bro, I'm
relaxing a
already
little
like
bit here are the lads.
I'm not into that.
Just relaxing.
Human hours
for
watch
now.
party.
Doesn't look like a lot of people are going down in the feed, but it does feel like it. Maybe they're just playing for those Evo halves here.
मैं सोलो ही करती हूँ
As well
जितेश
early
watch
on.
parties अपने.
Always a strategy that we see our teams taking. That way, you, especially when you get to those purples, you get those extra perks, right? So while it
Nature में
seems
एक
silly,
property बनाई है हमने.
there's definitely a strategy. There's a meaning to the matter there. As far as for now, S8UL trying to lock down kind of the southernmost zone. I guess they're expecting this thing to pull more towards the backside of Barometer, which you can understand with the kind of double ring touching on that side.
What
There's
do
a
you mean,
chance,
Dexter Gaming?
but they will have QWQ as well as who's that other squad that's right down there by him? Benino, who are kind of in the buildings next
Very
to them.
nice, Shana, very nice. But मैं watch party
they're also
3:30 a.m. को
on the
नहीं
southern
करूँगी,
side
sorry.
of the zone. We had
Unless
talked
it's
about for them
Valorant, PUBG,
rotating
PC
in
or
from
Apex.
Zenote that they
ये
wouldn't
तीनों
have
game हो गए तो
too
मैं कर
far
लूँगी.
to go.
Like because these are the
They've
games that I'm
technically
passionate
got
about.
themselves
So
in this,
that is why
what would that be,
Warzone
second ring that
is
will
a
be
good
in,
game.
but
I hope our
there's no
team
one
does
really with
great.
them on their
But
side of
मेरे
the
में
zone.
उसके लिए वैसा है नहीं कि oh wow
Say you will as
Warzone,
well.
wow
We've seen
crazy,
these guys
मजा
play
आया
this
game,
spot a
wow.
lot in scrims.
You
When
know?
it's a barometer zone in scrims, S8UL do get to this spot a lot, and they have a lot of practice from it. So they'll be feeling
Like
pretty
these three games I
comfortable
cannot do without.
here as well in game day. No
Warzone
teams
मेरे को पहले
really
बहुत
should
पसंद था.
grow their
फिर
position to
जब
land
भी
at the
पता
back,
चला
so it should
उसमें
be safe
दिमाग लगाने का ये सब
for
बिल्ड बनाने में
now.
लोड आउट
19
बनाने में
squads still standing.
मेटा
Round
फॉलो करने में
one.
तब I was like यार
30 seconds away from
ये
being
नहीं
closed, and then
होगा.
we'll go and have a look and see where round 2
होमवर्क
and
नहीं
3
करूँगी मैं
are going
इसमें.
to end up here as well for game number 3.
Yeah,
Last time
मतलब
around on
सुबह
Stormpoint,
they
so while we have
met
already
me no
had
at
one team
Riyadh and they were like
removed, I really wouldn't be surprised if for the next 2 rings or so, it continues to be relatively quiet. You mentioned maybe the Nox to
please
try
बीच
and
में watch party है. I
level
don't
up
think
the
मुझे इस
Evos, but
जन्म में
I wouldn't
BGMI की कोई
anticipate
watch party
seeing
rights मिलने
full-fledged
वाली है.
fights. It feels like most
क्यों
of our
देंगे मुझे
teams
वो
have
watch
already
party
picked at least
rights?
their initial spot down here towards Barometer in the kind of surrounding
देंगे?
areas. While you do still have some teams working the edge, RRQ continue to do their thing out on the ring as well. Of course, BCG has done very similar sort of approach as well. BCG, however, could very well be running into ARAM, and who knows, as much as I was thinking, we don't see any teams removed
देना तो
soon.
चाहिए लेकिन.
Maybe one of them joins our one lone squad left in the
PUBG Mobile
lobby.
के
But I
time
feel
पे
like,
मैं बहुत
as far
promote
as we
की हूँ.
look at where we're going, there's a lot of teams who have been able to solidify. You're talking about that position where S8UL was at. I like those squads on the southern side of Barometer.
They're in a pretty good spot. It's going to be interesting
हाँ शना,
to
Apex is
see.
not a difficult game. If you like watch it actually,
Here
then तुमको देख के
moving
समझ जाएगा कि क्या हो रहा है उसमें. और प्लस मैंने इसमें वीडियो बनाई है, अगर किसी को देखना हो तो फिर exclamation
BCG
Apex डाल के
overlooking the lads of
जाके वीडियो
Aram.
देख सकते हो.
I do have Valkyrie, so rotating in here is not too much of a problem. Once I get down this hill, the Valkyrie will come in pretty clutch. I do want to talk about
थोड़े दिन
where
पहले आपका
these
एक BGMI
lads
शॉट
are, though.
recommend हुआ था.
Wolves
भाई क्या ही
Esports. I feel
बोलूँ
like
मैं.
the zone may finish kind of like right in front of where they are towards QWQ in that little island area. So
yeah.
we'll have to wait to see. But if Wolves can get a nice little early read here with zone, put them into a pretty good position to try and get their day going as well. Because at the moment, pretty quiet for the lads of Wolves Esports with only 7 points.
Oh, Jesco
so
got
far
one,
in the first 2
knocked
games.
one, not killed, knock
Yeah,
हुआ
they've
है.
been quiet, but I do think that they do indeed have that good position. I think that's a good call by you. And over on that western side of the zone, they're really aren't too many teams that they'll have to clear out as far as to the north of them. So really they'll just have to kind of keep their eye on a majority of those squads that are still over towards Barometer itself. As far as when we look at the rest of the lobby, it's still 57 players in, 19 teams standing. So we had mentioned kind of more of that low and slow period here, and that's exactly what's been proven out on the server. Again, keeping in mind for some of these teams, it's 4
Thank you,
games
Milan.
left,
Thank you.
and
When
their
we have
split
next S8UL Value match.
very well could be over. We saw Havoc able to have a
Totally
very
VLR
strong
पे check कर
game
रही हूँ
number
मैं.
2, which has put them in the, at least on the podium for now. We talked about it between games 2 and 3. If they can have
26th को है ना कल
probably
hacker बोले थे.
one more strong game, puts them in a
Yep,
decent spot on
26
the
को है
series
next S8UL
locked
match.
in,
आज का
and
date
could
क्या
very
चल
well
रहा है
have them
24th.
feeling
आज
comfy heading
है
into the final week when it
साइन
comes to
वर्सेस रैड्स और
land
फिर लियोसन
qualifying
वर्सेस
opportunity.
RNTX. हम लियोसन वर्सेस RNTX देखेंगे और फिर कल भी सिर्फ 6 बजे वाला ही है.
Look like much action really happening
प्ले
at
पे
the
भी
moment.
दे
We've
सकते
seen
हैं ना
Team
क्या
Ruby
इसमें.
just farming some evos at the moment, Q, but it does look like Ubi not going for
किसमें
the
Apex
Giddy.
में?
They're gonna go the
हाँ यार
Watson
यूजुअली मतलब मैं
Newcastle
सारे वॉच
Valkyrie
पार्टीज में
here.
जेस्को की स्ट्रीम देखती हूँ. आज
As
मैंने वाईटी
we
खोला,
see
जेस्को का चैनल खोला तो वो
some
लाइव ही नहीं
different
था.
legend compositions coming out here before we head to E District, and I mean, how much the game has changed, Q. You look at the bans from last
मे
year
बी
going
शनाय
on to
मतलब
this year.
ऐसा
I
वो
think we
माइंडसेट
had
भी रहता है ना कि आज
2
अपन ज्यादा
weekends in a
सोचेंगे नहीं,
row
सीधा
where
जाओ मारो
for
फाइट लो
APAC
बस
South,
किल
our
करो.
controller legends were the only legends getting
तो
banned, and
वो
they
भी
kept
मैटर करता है
rotating. So
मतलब लाइक व्हाट डू यू
now
हैव
we're
टू
getting a
लूज.
really good mix of legend bans, and I feel like it's going to start. Well, obviously we saw it change a little bit when we had the APAC North versus APAC South. But a lot of these teams that are out here today,
मैं सारे एपेक्स के ये जेस्को के इससे ही
making it
करती हूँ,
very interesting
बट आज वो
here
लाइव ही
with
नहीं है
the
देखा मेरे को.
legends moving forward. But
I was
yeah,
like,
as we
what?
know, a lot more Gibbies picked in this game compared to the first two. In the first 2 games, Gibby was only picked twice.
Where it does feel like almost every team's got, whether it's a Gibby or at least a Newcastle, a lot of teams, of course, rocking the baby comp. To make sure
पूरा
we can say
स्क्रीन हिल
baby
गया,
comp as
दिमाग
many
हिल
times
गया,
as
सब
possible
दुनिया
before
हिल
it's
गई
off of
बेचारे
the
एजेंट्स की
table.
गेम
But
में.
yeah, ARAM currently trying to stabilize on their stairs. We haven't seen much from Dog Red in game
बड़ा मैं
number 3
सोचा हाँ
after
मतलब
having 2
या
very strong games. But
स्ट्रीम्स ने बोला
look
था
as far
स्ट्रीमिंग
as
नो
where they
बिकॉज
currently sit at
इन लोग
on
जो
the
स्ट्रीम
map,
करते
they
हैं ना ये
are
10 मिनट के
on the
डिले में है, तो इसीलिए
northwestern side of the
9:30 का
zone.
मैच टाइम
Honestly,
रहता
just
है,
the
लेकिन
western
हमको
half of
फीड
this,
दिखती है
where this
9:40
third
को.
ring is closing at.
And
Relatively
even all
quiet.
of
They
the
only
players
have
and
one
stuff that
team
are
that's in
streaming
front of
their
that's ARAM, who
POVs,
is on
everything
the
is at a
bridge,
10
and
minute
if
delay,
they can
not
clear
1 or
them,
2
they will
minutes.
be
10
fine. And
minutes
there
का
it is,
delay
as we
रखते
get
हैं
more ring
इसमें,
information, it will
क्योंकि
indeed be
उतना
heading
अप्रोक्सीमेट
towards
होता है ना
that
रोटेशन
little
टाइम ये
island
वो
between
सब.
where Wolves and QWQ are. One of the first teams
शना
to
इसमें
move off
तुम्हारी
of the back of
लोकेशन
that
पे ही ड्रॉप
information will
करते
be
हैं.
ECG.
तुमने जो पिक किया हुआ है ना
Man, Wolves in such a good spot. So
POI,
they called that really well here for game
तुमको
number
सीधा
3.
प्लेन उधर ही
Just
ड्रॉप करती है,
if
तुमको
we can get
ऐसा
their
फ्लाइट
day
पाथ कोई
going
फॉलो करके
as
जाना
well.
नहीं
But
होता
as
है.
we know,
They
it comes down
already
to this next
automatically
zone. A
spawn
lot
you
of
there
teams
at
are
your
gonna start
location, so
looking to Valkyrie
you can
towards
like I
to
guess
where
like land and like loot
Wolves
fast
are.
and go
So
to somebody
might see
else's
Wolves
location,
maybe
but you
be
cannot
a
spawn
little
at
bit
someone
more
else's
aggressive or show
location.
some more presence here
Live on
instead of
Twitch,
just
no, I'm
sitting
on
inside
YT.
the building. But game number 3, still no teams really fighting with round 3 15 seconds away from closing queue.
Yeah, we'll see probably a little bit of fighting here as far as with this next ring coming in. I mean, BCG has to move in quite a bit. Dog Red also has to move in from the building where they're at. We had mentioned
हाँ
just
फोन पे भी आया था ये
on the
गेम
other
पर
side of
चला
their
नहीं.
building onto that bridge is ARAM, who has been looking their direction. And once whoever wins this fight, it feels like controls
अभी
at
बैटल
least the
रॉयल ही है, बट
northwestern
इसमें एजेंट्स के
quadrant,
पास
which is
एबिलिटी है
nice. You can
बेसिकली.
kind of slowly work your way towards the
How many
west,
games today? There are 6
and
games.
kinda
This
make
is
your
the
way
third
south
one.
from there. But Dog Red
We're
is,
fifth
I
right
think,
now.
trying to make sure that they can more so prioritize placement, because you've already got yourself enough KP. You're closing in on 50 points. You've got yourself a good day going.
No, I mean just go on Twitch. I don't think so. He does YT, no? I checked YT. I don't see him there
Too
live.
aggressive at the moment, Q. As
इसके बाद अभी रीजनल फाइनल्स हो गए ये तारीख को, 5 या 6 तारीख को कुछ तो है ऐसा. लाइव आ जाओगे मैं उस टाइम पे.
And why would you? You're inside the zone. You know that people are
Date
moving
याद
towards
नहीं,
that building
लेकिन
or towards
तभी मैं
that
लाइव आ जाऊंगी.
little island that's in front of you. BCG and Havoc taking a fight on this northeastern side and fighting in through the zone. Lima will fall. Heck has to try and keep themselves safe.
सीधा ड्रोन लेके बंदे के पीछे ही जाता है अल्ट। ये देखो यहाँ छुपा है बंदा। शनै मार दूंगी मैं टाइम मैं फिजिकली फाइट कर दूंगी मैं तुमको मुक्का मार दूंगी मैं।
Underway as we can see Aram, they're gonna have to try and hold on.
I'm late. How many matches left? Ashish, you are so late. 6 में से ये अभी तीसरा गेम चल रहा है. We're almost halfway done. He does Twitch. What are you saying? Jesco does YT. I follow him on YT. Twitch कब से चालू किया ब्रदर ने?
Should get the sting as well. Yes, they do. One down, 2 more to go, but it does look like we have some third parties coming out. Havoc moving on in as well. Ken gets down 1, gets down 2, and he punches the other one. Aram gets eliminated. What a third party by Team Havoc.
Nice job. Got the Kraber in hand as well. Tries to peek up over the corner. Swinging a miss as far as the first shot. Will have to play behind the mobile shield. But
oh, is he watch playing Jesco?
Ordinances continue to get sent your way.
क्योंकि मैं क्या करती थी ना वो YT पे स्ट्रीम करता है ना यूजुअली तो मैं मेन स्ट्रीम देखती हूँ और जब हमारी टीम फाइट करती है तब मैं Jesco कर जाती हूँ because otherwise it's just oh fuck we got eliminated. Otherwise it's gonna be like 10-15 minutes of like just looting being seen. I want to see the game as well. Like I want to see the entire match. मेरे को पसंद है क्योंकि Apex esports मेरे को सब देखना है अपने टीम के अलावा दूसरों का भी देखना है बट मेरे को आज YT पे नहीं दिखा इसलिए मैंने अपना टीम का नहीं लगाया वो
We'll have to wait to see how it's going to work out. As you can see, Yubi just throwing
yeah,
down all the util towards the boys. As we can see, Goat will get eliminated. Avisan getting a couple of help kills there, and now they're going to have to try and rotate in as well. As we go and have a look as Rendang, they have their hands full. The alternator coming out as well. The Gibby, the back.
Legacy कर रहा है, हाँ देखा. Jesco नहीं कर रहा ना, legacy कर रहा है.
And this is going to be all she wrote for Rendang here in game number 3 as well. All of a sudden now, a lot of teams starting to get into this action.
So we're talking about
मैं YT सर्च करी थी मैं उससे watch party कर रही हूँ तो उधर ही
GWQ cleans things up. Can they stay alive is going to be the question as the third party moves in. Black Hole will be out in the top right hand corner. PXX looking to play aggressive as Jackie Chan, Peacekeeper in hand, looking to try and make a play. Steps on through, finds one. It's a small shot off the second, but it's enough to be able to allow for the teammate to take them down.
Tekken में नहीं कर सकते उसमें तो कोई भी कर सकता है हाँ क्या Tekken में ऐसा सीधा कोई भी watch party कर सकता है But Tekken मेरे को बताया
get eliminated. TYK getting the job done as well. As you can see, Veneno still alive. Also
Tekken कौन समझाएगा मेरे को
Titan Esports Club.
Apex तो मैं तुमको समझा सकती हूँ. Tekken में क्या करेंगे तुम और मैं दोनों lost. क्या हो रहा है?
Both doing really well out here so far in game number 3.
Yeah, Titan Esports Club though will have a couple of teams that will be on their 6 on the rotate in of the likes of RRQ, Veneno as well. You even do have TYK that's still left alive on that northeastern side. We had mentioned RRQ. They're trying to fight their way on in, have to try and take down those Watson pylons along, or the Watson fences along the way, trying to fight through all of the walls that are there.
Malik Bhai, good morning, Newcastle
as well, trying to lock down their building, and Veneno gonna go out.
Then all of a sudden now, RRQ need to be careful. I think that's Titan Esports Club. No, it's TYK looking to try and join the party. Veneno get eliminated. Do they have a Valkyrie ult? Yes, they do. So we might see them Valk ult here in, but it does look like they may have left that a little bit too late here, Q, in game 3. As we can see, 8 squads left with round 5 starting to close.
Well, the first team is going to have to move will be RRQ. They're on the very, very edge.
अपनी टीम eliminate हो गई है guys ये वाले मैच में
has to try and find a little bit of real estate to move on in with. It will be PXX also needing to move. The first team that was on this island was DCG. We were worried about them being in the crosshairs of Wolves Esports, however, and now it's Wolves that are on the prowl, as it will be No Name looking to make a play with the Nemesis. However, it will be the bubble that will at least slow them down.
All of a sudden now 6 squads left. Beautiful shots coming out from Wolves. Is this the game that they can get That was definitely the game they need, Q, as well, moving forward. Wen needs to be careful. RRQ do get eliminated. We are now down to our final 5 squads. And with the amount of gibbies that are out here, we may see a gibbie ban for game number 3. Out comes the wall from DCG. They're in a pretty good shot. Nice PK shots as well. But the gibbie ult's going to be too strong as Wolves looking to try and capitalize as well. TYK for now still alive, but 4 squads still standing.
4 squads standing, 2 of them on the island, 2 of them off towards the right, and Titan Esports Club looks like they could very well be falling here in a moment. That push on down into the low ground, trying to finish up this fight. It will be No Name who pushes on through. It will be playing around that Newcastle wall, but it's not going to be enough. Titan Esports Club now going to go out. The problem though is Wolves have left that island that they were on. TYK now playing wide. I think this is TYK's game to win.
Well, it's going to be 3 squads left standing. PXX is a solo still somewhere. So all they need, PXX, is Wolves to do exactly what they're doing right now. And look at this man, XD. He can just wait and take his time. It's going to be a 2v2, v1 situation here for our final game on Stormpoint.
इसमें वो नहीं ऐड हुआ है क्या? इसमें नहीं, esports में ऐड नहीं हुआ है ना United के वो revive कर सकते हैं death box से वाला.
But now is going to get picked back up.
So that will give
TYK a full 3, and they should be able to hold off both the duo and the solo as they're technically playing on top of one another. Plus, you've got the ult from the Gibby as well. However, it's a nice ultimate from XD from PXX. Takes the high ground, uses the Newcastle wall. Big shot from the Mastiff, trying to basically keep this squad down on the low ground, which could then in turn force them to take the fight with the duo and allow for PXX to play for second.
Out comes the evac. The Gibby's gonna move up. TYK clean up PXX. This should be a nice easy victory for TYK. The kickstart comes out. They drop down. Arm now needs to try and stay alive. Crazy Kong doing crazy things. Hold up a second, chat. There's 1 man left standing. Crazy Kong trying to get the shield swap. What is he doing? Just shoot your PK. I'm pretty sure he has no health as well. And TYK will get the victory for game number 3.
This is huge. I think this really starts with TYK making the decision to push into the high ground because they realize that PXX is a solo.
But they will
take
not
them out of there, and then you've got that winning position, plus you've got the man advantage as well. And for PXX, they are one of those squads that we had mentioned in the overall leaderboards, currently sitting in the top 5 that were short a game day. And we mentioned that if they had a strong match day today, they could feel all but secured in their spot for EWC. That big win in game number 3 will help them with that challenge.
Beautiful game by TYK. 4 kills and the victory. We're going to have a look at the match summary. And well, a 16-point game for TYK. Wolves with 15, 11 kills for PXX. They get 3rd. Titan Esports Club get 4th. And Relove DCG round out.
इसमें लेजेंड बैन नहीं है क्या? हाँ है ना, 2 लेजेंड बैन हो गए, क्रिप्टो और मैड मैगी. अभी इस ये 3rd मैप के बाद 3रा लेजेंड बैन होगा. We're 9th right now.
Yeah, that's it there, right?
आ जाएंगे ऊपर.
Yeah, I think that's it there because Dog Red went out early, so they didn't add much to their tally, right? So that I think should be updated scores through there.
Should be. Yes, no, it is. Yes. So Wolves only had 7 points before this game, and then all of a sudden with that game they move into the top 10. But as it looks after match number 3, Dog Red leading the way with 44 points. Havoc sitting 2nd. PXX 3rd. Titan Esports Club 4th. And TYK rounding out the top 5 here, Q, after our first 3 lots of games. But I mean, it is still pretty close here on the leaderboard for that top 10. We'll go and have a look at which legend is getting banned moving into E-District.
I have a feeling I know. That's only because I jumped into the next lobby. I cheated. It's going to be Valkyrie. It's going to be off the board here. 17 picks
Bye,
in that last one. We mentioned more than likely was going to
We'll
be a
miss you,
legend that
buddy.
gets taken off of the board on the new Storm Point, as far as with the lack of those their tridents. And it will be
Crypto
game number
gone, Valk
3.
gone,
But they do officially get
Mad
taken
Maggie
off.
gone.
So as we get ready to switch
3 मैच और
over
है ये
to
सभी मैप चेंज हो
E-District,
जाएगा अभी
no
ई डिस्ट्रिक्ट
Valkyrie,
होगा
no Crypto, and no Mad Maggie. But I guess
क्योंकि मैं
as
स्ट्रीम
far
कर
as
रही हूँ ना
when we
इसलिए मैं
talk
सेम
about
टाइम पे खेल
moving
नहीं पा रही
forward,
हूँ
that just means now it's
समझा
going to be
अक्षय
more defensive legends, assuredly, that'll be getting picked as we move to E-District.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see a lot more
It's
Giddy,
E-District
Newcastle,
time,
Axel probably
baby.
coming out as well. Alta, we may see an Alta ban. As we know, Alta is still
Probably an
out
Alta,
there
yeah.
also with E-District. We'll go and have a look, though, at our top 5 kills and damage leaders after our first 3 games, Q.
Let's take a quick look at him as his 555 currently holding
आज
down the
नहीं है
top
हम
spot
top
with
5 in
14
kills
kilo.
में कोई
Paul
बात
is
नहीं
right
थोड़ा
behind him
टाइम
with
दो आ
12.
जाएगी
Zoyo, 7
14 वाले
RDZ, and
भाई से
XD. Rounding out the top 5 as far as
ये
for
वो है
those
ना
kills. Let's see how people are doing as far as on the damage side of things. As
अरे ये रहा ना
555
अपना जेस्को
holding it down with about
डैमेज तो है
5.5. Jesco just shy of 5. Kilo, Refrain, and No Name as far as your top 5 damage getters through 3 games.
So far, so good here for ALGS Match Day 8 chat. We really do appreciate you guys being here with us today. There is obviously a 10-minute break always between game 3 and game 4. So we're going to hit you with a BRB screen. But in the meantime, go and get yourself something to drink, something to eat. Sit back, relax, hit the follow button, the subscribe button. Follow all our socials to catch up with everything APAC South. We'll be right back for game number 4 just around the corner as we head to ED for some more ALGS action.
Apex Legends Overclocked coming May 5 May 5 तो जा चुका है और ये अभी 2-3 मिनट 5 मिनट ब्रेक होगा शायद से मैक्स या 2-3 मिनट तो टाइमर लगा सकते हैं चालू हो जाएगा सून ये लोग इतना टाइम पास नहीं करते Dual large rotor motor. What does that even mean, bro? I don't even know what that means. That sounds so fancy. सबके साथ compatible है. What is a rotor motor, bro? That sounds so fun. Rotor motor. माइनस एपेक्स 2 अभिनव मैं तो लास्ट ईयर भी जब इंटरव्यू रील वील ये सब हो रही थी तभी वो ही बोला था कि मेरा तो फेव एपेक्स ही है AWC के लिए हमारा फेवरेट चिटपिट मुझे तो जाना है यार बस उन लोग बुला ले मुझे मौका दे दे मैं तो नहीं छोड़ूंगी भाई हम लोग जाने वाले हैं कैनाल प्लाजा ओके कनाल प्लाजा नया जगह जा रहे हैं हम लोग. यूजुअली हम लोग कुछ इधर उधर जाते हैं. Let's go. It's gonna start now. I have a feeling. इस बार पेरिस को मैं ब्रो मुझे बस बुला लो यार. मैं तो मौका नहीं छोड़ूंगी. मुझे ले लो प्लीज. हाय साइकरन गुड मॉर्निंग. हाँ वोल्व्स एंड पीएक्स सेक्सी है ना ये लॉबी में. और अच्छा हैवक भी तो है. हैवक आरआरक्यू ये सब भी तो है. हाय आभास गुड मॉर्निंग. ये जो चिटपिट अभी जो इन लोग ने लीडर बोर्ड दिखाया था जिस पे हम लोग टॉप पे थे दैट इज अपडेटेड आफ्टर द फुल डे. वो मैच वाइज अपडेट मतलब वो इट्स लाइक कंप्लीट ओवरऑल. जैसे ये पर्टिकुलर दिन का ओवरऑल स्टैंडिंग्स इन लोग गेम के बीच में दिखाते हैं वो पूरे सीरीज़ का है. तो जब पूरा दिन ख़त्म हो जाएगा तब वहाँ पे हमारे उस दिन के ओवरऑल स्टैंडिंग के हिसाब से पॉइंट अपडेट हो गए. तो वो पर मैच के बाद अपडेट नहीं होता है जो एब्सोल्यूट ओवरऑल स्टैंडिंग वाला है जिसमें हम नंबर 1 है. हाँ क्या शनै. मनन भाई जब इवेंट पेरिस में हो रहा है तो अब सऊदी जाके क्या करोगे बताओ. एग्ज़ाम आपका बांद्रा में हो रहा है तो आप बोरीवली जाओगे. मूवी आपकी आईनॉक्स में स्क्रीनिंग हो रही है. आप सिनेपोलिस जाओगे. गुजरात आओगे कभी. मैं आई हूँ गुजरात मल्टीपल टाइम्स. हेलो माय मदर इज गुजराती. I've been there before. मूवी तो फिर मैं जाओगे नहीं देखने. देखो ये तो सैड हो गया अभी. लेट्स गो कनाल प्लाजा. वाह बोला मम्मी गुजराती है सीधा केम चो लेकर चालू कर दिया. वायर मैन थैंक यू सो मच. अगर मेरी स्ट्रीम की स्क्रीनिंग थिएटर में होने लग गई वाओ क्रेजी. सिद्धार्थ we're already there. Just consider us done. कहाँ घूमने निकला है एक बंदा अपना? Was that the zone like on the left? Because like we're right next to it then. We're right next to the zone then. गुजरात में दाल में भी चीनी डालते, क्या बात करो, मुझे लगा था गुजराती लोग का सब खाना ऐसा स्वीट नहीं रहता, मतलब उन लोग को भी थोड़ा सा स्पाइसी टेस्ट पसंद है, आई थॉट इन गुजरात. नो. मेजॉरिटी चीज़ें मीठी रहती, क्या बात कर रहे हो? अनम्यूट तो कर. ओफा क्या? थैंक्स भाई याद दिलाने. कौन याद दिलाएगा कि म्यूटेड है स्ट्रीम?
I think especially because we have continued to see, like even this season, we have seen the gap close in Pro League between like that top and bottom of the boards. The gap between your CC teams and like those last 8 teams in Pro League, there's almost no gap at this point. So yeah, for the teams who squeezed their way in as those last couple of teams now potentially threatening relegation, surely going to be feeling the pressure. We've seen a bunch of
ये तो सिर्फ वॉचिंग हो रही है, अगर ओम रहा में 50-50 कर दे तो पार्टी हो जाएगी. हाँ ना, वॉच पार्टी में थे, अभी तो सिर्फ वॉच हो रहा है, पार्टी चालू हुई नहीं है.
Got Prio, but also teams like Dog Red didn't have too far to go as well. And we had mentioned Dog Red. They were one of those teams that was potentially facing relegation heading into today. They're currently sitting in the #1 spot heading into E District, and you figure if they can have at least
हमारा साउ पूरी का सीजन चल रहा है.
finish of these last 3, they can at least guarantee themselves a spot on the podium.
आपके पास पूरी रेडी है, आप आमरस को बुला रहे हो? इधर आओ, पूरी के साथ खाओगे तुमको.
I was just looking at the scores on what we've been given, and in the first.
अरे क्या डाइट यार? What is our diet?
As a team, have 12,000 damage. The closest team
What is our diet?
is Titan Esports Club with
What is
9,008
ISX
damage
Gaming?
as a team. So Dog Red at the moment are farming this.
कुछ नहीं होता डाइट वाइट, it's Mo and Maya. You should eat everything and be happy.
Seeing red through the first 3 games, and they've been able to find a relatively good rate of success. We've talked about this in previous weeks, though, especially in like last week when the battle of the APAC where we had match point. Does now that they have themselves a lead and they're halfway through, do they decide to switch things up to keep themselves in that lead, or they continue playing aggressive? Because sometimes the switch up of pace, while you think, hey, all we got to do is play for placement, now you're not playing your play style and you're not quite as comfortable. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on them on E-District moving forward. We did mention earlier on that last map on Storm Point how Wolves Esports had been relatively quiet. While they didn't have the strongest of finish in map #3s, they are still within the hunt. They're in the conversation currently in that 7th spot.
How are team playing so far? Decent.
PXX close by as well. So it does look like Wolves Esports playing that northern side of zone. I don't know if they know where zone is.
Current ranking overall में या फिर आज के दिन में? आज के दिन में हम लोग क्या है? 9th है.
Yeah, I mean, PXX would have been rotating all the way over from Heights I feel like they probably would have at least gotten a scan on the way over, you would imagine, but maybe
Overall
just
में
kind
number
of
one है.
going
अगर
with the
overall
flow
दिन
and
में
following the
कोई
foot
Wolves
traffic. They do
हमसे
have
आगे
themselves a
निकल गए तो
decent
हो
spot as
सकता
far
है
as where
ऐसा.
they're at for now, even if they don't
3xx भी
have
जा सकते हैं हम
the
लोग इतने दूर
information.
नहीं हम
I
लोग
think you could
से.
even argue a similar
Third, fifth
sort
या
of
ऐसे
deal
कुछ
as
है.
far as where Wolves are
They
currently
could. They're
rotating
like
in
20 points
from Mid
behind
Lotus,
us.
right? Like
But
if
if
they
they get
continue rotating
something,
on that
some
northern
insanely
side,
good
they
ranking
could
today,
make
तो
sure
ही
that
आगे जा
they
सकते हैं. वरना
essentially
फिर we will
protect
still be number one
their
at the
six,
top.
and they'll know that there's no one on their north. They will end up rotating into teams like Orchid if they opt to do that, though.
S8UL looking to try and hold their spot. So PXX just being a little aggressive as well, trying to find somewhere to play. Does look like QWQ trying to get their
fighting,
evos
fam?
up, and I feel like we
Are
see
we
that a
getting
lot
fight?
at the moment, Q, with teams that prio zone early. I feel like they really do try and
Are we
get
getting
that
fight, fam?
knockdown, revive, evo. I feel like they do it a lot.
I mean, big value when you're able to get up. I mean, a big change from like blue to purple, right? You get that extra perk, and that perk can bring some big value, especially for late game scenarios. So understandably so, as you know, with the changes that have been made within the course of the last, was that like 18, 24 months or so. And honestly, I've been enjoying seeing as it adds like that little extra layer to things as well, especially at the highest of levels. We do still have plenty of teams who have been able to find themselves some sort of real estate in City Hall. We mentioned when we saw things were heading here, a lot of buildings, which means plenty of teams are going to be able to coexist next to
Just
each other.
अभी एपेक्स खेल के
Once
watch करा,
things
I'll just watch
start
party की बारी.
unfolding
तो
is when things get hectic,
Sunday
but
सुबह
we're
सुबह
still a
9
bit
बजे
a
आप
ways from that
एपेक्स
yes
खेलते
though.
हो?
Just a little bit. I feel like our ED games are pretty slow going, and well, when you have Ultra still out on the board, you have teams that can
हाँ
kind
नहीं,
of just
एंडरिंग वालों का तो गंदा ही
send
दिन
it,
चल
but
रहा है
then
एकदम.
pull back as well. They don't
जिधर
really
देखो
have
फिनिश हो जाते हैं.
too much to worry about. So does look like Team Goat maybe trying to kidnap a fair few as well, but with 20 squads still standing, Q, it does look like round 2 is 50
समझ जा कुछ
seconds
भी देख रहा
away
समझ जाओगे मैं
from closing.
जितना
We'll have a
देखोगे
look
तुम समझ
at
जाओगे.
this
वैसे मैंने
zone
वीडियो
at
भी
the
बनाई है
moment, as you can
एपेक्स
see
के
on the
ऊपर. अगर
backside.
तुमको
We might
देखना
see
हो
a
तो
bit of
देख सकते हो
Wolves
एक्सक्लेमेशन
v Team
एपेक्स
Orchid
डाल
action.
के या कुछ.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. If they rotate in this way while this
उस स्ट्रीम का
positioning
पहला
would
1
be
घंटे में
good,
मैंने
'cause
सब
once
बता
this
दिया
ring
है
closes
कमेंट
in, you
सेक्शन
don't
में
have to
टाइम
worry about
स्टैम्प
anybody
पर.
rotating in on your north side. You're pushing in towards a team that has the capability of fighting. That's Team Orchid. Not just that, you do have a couple of squads in the area who could very well third party this thing as well. Teams of the like of Rendang and
अच्छी बात है
QWQ.
राजदीप.
QWQ
आइए
actually
आइए
technically
कायगा संडे आज भी
has
काम है. क्या
already
बात करूं?
started
कॉल करो अपने
knocking
बॉस
on
को
the
और स्पीकर पे डालो.
doorstep
मैं
of
बात
Team
करती हूँ.
Orchid, which has now made Team Orchid incredibly uncomfortable as they've already started that fight with Wolves.
It'll be a big fight, this one. Team Orchid, one of our best teams in APAC South. I feel like they've proved it this split view, and well, yesterday they did win
हाँ एपेक्स में अपना
the
गारंटीड
block
समझो
as
गाइस.
well for A versus B. So with 20 squads still left here, not much really happening. We'll go and have a look and see where this next zone is pulling, and well, BCG, QWQ, all in really good spots here.
BCG reading this thing like a book, man. That thing is going to continue to pull their direction. And because of the fact that they are able to secure that spot, and I believe they are playing with a Watson.
नेक्स्ट जोन में भी है हम लोग. जस्ट को 1 नॉक भी कर दिया.
They actually
और फिनिश भी
have
कर दिया
much
जस्ट को.
to be
1
able
के
to
भी आ
lock
गई. चलो
down
फाइनली
this
अट्ठाईस
side of their
19
zone.
पॉइंट.
So I'm
हम
kinda
लोग
surprised
पिछले
there
गेम
aren't
0
more
पॉइंट थे.
teams trying to take up some of this real
1
estate.
पॉइंट आ गया. लेगेसी भी एक नॉक कर
To
दिया.
try and stay alive. We've got a catalyst out on the field. I don't mind
Oh.
seeing that. Titan Esports Club though getting eliminated. Looks like
दो
they
मार
kinda
दिए,
got
3
caught
के
out
भी आ
that
गए
they
अपनी.
rotate in. RRQ.
Congratulations and
Looks like
celebrations.
they're going to be aggressive, or are they going to move back? Looks like they are going to just be a little bit careful here moving forward. Q Wolves Esports, so they find themselves in a pretty good spot in zone, but Team Orchid still very close by.
Orchid was by, and I think part of the reason we had seen RRQ pump the brakes is they were chasing after
भाई नींद तो मुझे
DCG.
आ रही है.
And it was TYK that had pulled in with the third party. And still at this point, though, 19 teams, 57 players left standing. While there are players that are taking pop shots at one another, we're still not seeing teams being comfortable just quite yet when it comes to a full send in the 3v3.
हाँ यार, membership
Havoc
तो
had a
gift
good
करनी
game
चाहिए ना.
number 2, but wasn't really able to maintain that momentum into game number 3. They are technically still at a decent spot on the scoreboard just because of the fact that other than Dog Red, no one's been able to put together multiple strong games. But if they struggle to put together another one, we could be in trouble. But this is an awkward pull. As much as we thought BCG had the read, it actually turns out that QWQ has read this thing like a book.
Team RRQ now very close by to BCG. These two teams, though, when they see this next zone queue, they're going to be pretty disappointed knowing that they probably could have taken where QWQ are a little bit earlier as well. Well, I know for a fact BCG will be pretty upset about it, but with 19 squads still left with round 3, 50 seconds away from closing, I feel like we're not too far away from a lot of action coming our way.
Yeah, probably going to be over the course of this zone closing and the next one where we will see quite a bit. You were talking about that disappointment between BCG and RRQ. The good news for whoever wins that fight, they're kind of left by themselves over on that northwestern side. So they will be able to have a decent placement as they watch the rest of the lobby to play itself out. But it is going to be these teams
गलत बात है ये फाइन लगेगा 100 रुपए भेज रहा Google Pay पे
Havoc currently surrounded by a couple of the squads of the like of TYK. Matter of fact, Havoc actually going to be rotating on back, pulling away from that, but it's right into the crosshairs of Goat.
Yeah, Goat now needing to be careful because they want to have a big game and not too aggressive. Down go 2 for Havoc, though normal. Went kind of insane just then. Nice little sneaky grab. There's only one man left standing. Havoc get eliminated. Now all of a sudden, Goat need to be careful as Team Ubi are making their way in as well, using those ultra Qs through the fence. We're now down 18 squads with S8UL holding the bridge and a pretty good spot in these final stages of this game.
Loving the position that they're playing from here. They have to try and find their spot that they want to rotate in from over on the northeastern side. Currently, they're on the hunt, I believe, for the lone player from PXX. Looks like they've been able to identify them as we will jump back on board with Goat down on this southern side as they're in a fight here. I believe that's HABNW that's just on the other side of the wall. They will look to get the green light off of the back of that Caustic ult comes out. We also see PXX goes down the top right-hand corner of your screen.
Nice Q through the wall. Down goes one normal now. If there's anyone that can do this right now is normal, but it's not going to be enough only because of the Caustic gap. The third party, though, looking to come in is TYK, our game 3 victors. Do need to be a little bit careful, though, with 16 squads still alive. There is a lot of action not too far away from getting underway. Avisan will go down, and, well, I don't like their chances with this next rotate in, as it looks like QWQ
विंगमैन एक मनूज गन है जो नहीं चलती सही से. अरे भाई विंगमैन क्या बढ़िया गन है, क्या बात कर रहे हो?
Yeah, those 3 teams on the southern side of the zone all fighting. I think none of them make it into the zone because you will have teams that have made their way on in, who have all tried to make themselves as center as possible. You mentioned Orchid's already here, S8UL's here as well. I mean, you've got a couple of trios that are all still left alive inside the ring, playing well, counterintuitive to their name, playing outside of the ring, trying to find themselves a spot on this southwestern side, and well, they're struggling in that regards here.
S8UL in a really good spot here, Q as well. 16 squads left standing. They take control of the bridge and they look pretty good. Team also in a pretty good spot at the moment. Dog Red look like they might be going down to a duo, and that's all thanks to TYK. So there's a lot of bloody teams left, Q, but not much real estate when round 5 starts to get underway.
TYK, another one of those teams just like Dog Red, trying to put themselves up into that top 22 to avoid relegations. They've got themselves a decent day going. Veneno gonna look to try and make a play over the top. Nade gets sent. Rendang struggling as a solo here. On the northern side of the zone, it's Wolves. We had mentioned they have been somewhat quiet, despite the fact that they are still threatening for a top 5. Gwen has the longbow in hand, gonna find a 60 off of the back of that shot. We'll let them join with the rest of the squad, as they do have the zone nipping at their heels.
TYK overlooking Dog Red, still need to be careful.
लेकिन Wolves
inside
और
the ring.
PXX
Also,
को
now
eliminate
moving
कर सकते
into
हैं
a
कोई
better spot.
अच्छा लगेगा
Aram
मुझे
looking
इसमें
in
मैं खुश हूँ
as
मालिक सुनो ना
well.
क्या
We
चाहिए
do
तुझे
lose
बता
AnkkitagB. And well, a lot of teams starting to get under.
बता क्या चाहिए Wolves को
Trying to
eliminate
find their
करना
way
अच्छा लगेगा
inside
शार्की ने एक
zone,
मार
but
दिया
it
एक और
seems like
KP आ
it is
गई
going to be a little bit crazy moving forward.
Wolves currently have RRQ pinned in down on
क्या
the
चाहिए
low
बोल
ground. They realize that
Legacy
they're
ने एक
tucked
knock कर
inside
दिया
of a Gibby bubble. Meanwhile, on the other side of the zone, Black Hole still trying to find their way in it towards some safety. They do have control of this building on the floor, but
भाई
the problem
एक
is there
मधुमक्खी
are
यूएस
going to
गई
be
तो
a
उसको
bunch of
क्या
teams that
बोलेंगे
are
क्या
going to be
बोलेंगे बता
contesting for this
USB
very costly real estate.
बोल दिया मैंने आंसर
BCG
भाग
now
इधर से
trying to stay alive as well. Dog Red, the closest team to them. As we can see, S8UL, they'll be looking to try and
एक और
stay
KP आ गई
aggressive,
25
keeping
points हो
all
गए
the
baby
top side here. TYK, they're going to get eliminated.
Ah, yeah,
We're
legacy
now
kill
down to our
leader.
final 12 squads. Round 5, 15 seconds away from starting to close. And well, as we can
अभी
see, teams
मेरे
starting
में
to
आ रहे
make
हो
their
भाई
way
शर्म
in.
कर ले
BCG,
यार
they have
क्या
their
हो
hands
रहा है ये
full. And it
सब
looks like a lot
डॉग
of the
रेड
big
में
dogs
हो
at the
गया
moment
यार
is
ये
starting to go down.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting ring as it closes because there is not very many safe spots where it's closing into. Especially on the southern side, a lot of teams that are
27
going
baby
to have to make their way towards the north. It looks like Team Ubi has at least been able to find enough of the zone to be able to call theirs. Well, they'll be able to be safe for now. DCG, they've had a relatively quiet day, and well, it looks like the Mastiff being put to work by Roy on the other side of this column. They've got themselves a squad that's getting burned away there by the thermite.
Yes, S8UL with their hands full. The problem is, though, there's so many ultras still out in the field that the ultra can just come up through the bottom. Sharky, the last one standing, and as I said that, here comes the third party from Ubi coming up from the bottom, and they will get rid of S8UL. Ubi now in a top 7 with Abby trying to get Dooms back up. As we can see, 7 squads left standing. Wolves still out here as well. And also Veneno.
हमें वाला एक स्लाइस देना अच्छा लग रहा है आप भी बोलती हो एडिट कोई बात नहीं लेकिन अच्छा गेम था इसमें हम लोग 18 पॉइंट से क्या 27 या कुछ 10 पॉइंट कमाए ना और फिर आई थिंक पोजीशन के भी ऐड हो गए
Whoever
Not
wins
sure
this
total
fight on the
कितने
northern
point
side, this is somewhat isolated. If you can
Not
get
bad.
the reset, you'd be able to rotate down south into some teams and kind of get to play custodial duty and maybe get yourself a nice win off of some third-party action. QWQ, a little bit more central here. The problem, 2 players still sitting on those blue shields. They do have a new castle wall to play behind. They've got the Gibby bubble to keep safe as well.
चलो मैं 4 खत्म कर दिया
QWQ playing pretty well at the moment. Just need to try
नाश्ता हुआ नहीं बस खा ही रही
and
हूँ
stay alive for a little bit longer. Veneno, Kraber in the hand for Razi. 2 bullets left. Not
मैंने अभी एक आइडिया लगाया
at all. Needs that infinite
मैं बस
ammo.
सोच
If
रही हूँ
anyone
ठीक
has
है
it, drop it for the man here. Oh my
मैं बस
God.
सोच रही हूँ
Just missing him here. But
कि अगर मेरा पीसी इधर है
7 squads left alive. Yubi looking pretty good as well.
और मेरा बेड इधर है तो मैं यही से लेट के वॉच पार्टी क्यों नहीं कर सकती
that are currently below them. However, they will be one of the teams that has to move sooner rather than later. RRQ had also been in a similar position and realized that the problem when they rotated more central, teams all looking their way, and it now looks like RRQ could very well be at threat of being from this lobby. One of the teams
what seems to be the problem, officer?
Wolves, and they are still on that
why
high
can't I just
ground
lie
here
down
as well.
here and
That
watch
should
it?
give them the ability to wipe that
रैंक क्या चल रही है अपनी
Veneno
ओवरऑल
pretty
पूरे
well.
दुनिया में
Esports
नंबर
did
1
have to drop down or just move to a better spot. Beautiful shots coming out from No Name. You do want to maybe just move down here and clean this up. Wolves do decide to drop. The Seer trying to stay alive. Beautiful PK shots. Wins. Getting rid of him here. BCG now looking. Sorry, Wolves Esports, looking to try and move in. BCG get eliminated. Yubi trying to hold the high. This looks like Wolves Esports have a pretty good chance here to take the victory. 3 squads left, 1 shot in the Kraber there for Razi, but we are now down to our final 3, and I don't like Veneno's chances right now with Wolves Esports still standing and looking right at him here in our final zone.
It feels like this should be Wolves' game to be able to win here, as both the other squads are on the other side. And they'll be inside of that bombardment as well. They'll be able to walk forward off of the back of that bubble, and it's just easy pickings. Wolves Esports are going to be able to walk away with the dub here in game number 4.
Esports getting a beautiful victory here in game number 4, one that they have needed for a while. They are starting to warm up, Q, and that is what is going to be scary for this back end of these lobbies for the rest of the teams. If Wolves are here, they don't disappear.
And for everyone else, it should strike fear, that's for sure. I mean, we had seen when it was the Wolves that were sitting right on top of RRQ on that northern side of the zone. I said whoever won that fight would probably have the winning position. And while technically BCG threw their name into the mix as RRQ rotated their way, Wolves plays third party. Then they get to play third party yet again on those teams fighting towards their south. They pick up 10 KP along with the win. So 22 points in game number 4 for Wolves. Veneno will be able to pick up 11, 16 for QWQ, with Ubi and BCG rounding out the top 5.
And for the series overall, well, Dog Red are leading
fourth
the way.
मेरा face cam cover कर रहा है, लेकिन हम लोग fourth है.
Esports starting to make their way up the leaderboard. They're sitting second. Veneno sitting third. S8UL fourth.
We're fourth with 30 points, 22 kills, 8 placement.
And well, I felt like I saw a lot of Watsons, and it does look like
Watson
is going to be the ban moving forward. So Watson gets eliminated, which means Gibby, Alta, and Newcastle are still available here for game number 5.
Watson gone,
well,
Crypto gone,
looks like.
Val gone, Watson gone, Mad Mike
Recons,
gone.
1 controller, 1 assault, moving into game number 5. And well, for the map scenes, we've had a different winner every game once again, Q, in match day number 8.
And we haven't seen too many teams be able to pick up multiple wins over the course of the match days. Not just here in APAC South, but it feels like really across all 4 regions. And I think that's part of the reason that really, again, across all 4 regions, we've been seeing the overall leaderboard.
First map भी हमको 12 point मिले, fourth में 12 मिले, दूसरे में 6 मिले थे, सिर्फ तीसरे में 0, मतलब हम दे दम थोड़ा सा बस.
No different.
मतलब हमारे लिए ये बच्चा
You
नहीं
still
था.
now have 2 more renditions of E-District left here as far as for our match day. Got to take a look one more time as far as for these drop spots. We did go to City Hall as far as for that last game, and well, Wolves Esports, they had a decent rotate on over from Electro Dam.
Yeah, they did. They played pretty well, considering how hard that zone is to actually get to as well. So, with Rendang being gifted zone, they were pretty... Oh, they'll be pretty down on themselves as well. Because, as we know, that side of zone, if you're picking up, I feel like that's why S8UL, they probably were pretty upset that they didn't get City Hall, because that's usually where they pick, City Hall. But it seems like they still wanted to be pretty close by to that City Hall pick. So choosing Canal Plaza is still pretty impressive to me, because as we know, Q, or hopefully we don't go back-to-back City Hall, but as we know, we do have the tendency of that happening a lot over here.
Yeah, I feel like if we don't go City Hall, I wouldn't be too surprised to go kind of on that opposite side of the northern, like half of the map. We've seen also a lot of zones that kind of end in that like Electro Dam, Canal Plaza, in between Lotus and Galleria sort of area, which still would be kind of favorable for some of those teams like, say, a Rendang, who you just mentioned. Didn't quite get the results that surely they would have liked to off of the back of that City Hall zone, but the City Hall zone being one of those POIs, like many of them here on E-District, we mentioned, offers a lot of real estate. So I think E-District is one of those zones that E-District is one of those maps that I think you can't really beat yourself up as much about if you can't capitalize on those zones as, like, let's say an Olympus or a Storm Point, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. We're looking at the damage overall for teams, and you know how I said Dog Red were leading very comfortably before? S8UL, that game dropped like 6k, 5k damage as a team, and now sitting in that 15k damage as a team. So I don't think we talk about S8UL enough with how consistent they are as a team in our region. They're one of the most dangerous teams in the world at the moment as well, I do feel. We got the chance to watch, obviously, APAC at South and APAC North with the Battle of APAC that we put on. And the difference between S8UL, VK, and Zeta compared to the rest, it was just so obvious. And at the moment, you're seeing it as well. Yes, they're not winning games, but they're sitting in a top 4 right now. I think their average placement, this whole split's been like 5 or 4 or something. So that is insane for a split of Apex.
Yeah, their average placement has been pretty insane. I think it's just shy of 6, which is still kind of crazy across all 5 maps. When all the maps, right? So I said 5 maps. There definitely aren't 5 maps, but yeah, across all of the maps. And I think part of the reason that S8UL often gets overlooked in APAC South is just because they're consistently consistent, right? They're a team that, while yeah, they have a good amount of top 10 finishes, half of those are top 5s, but they've only won 2 games, right? So they don't win very many games, but they aren't also a team that like often pops off for like the 15, 16, 18 kill games. They just consistently tread and find themselves, 6 kills here, 7 kills there, right? Somewhere,
that's
twice. Somewhere around that.
You're nearly at 3 strikes here, buddy.
But yeah, they're just a team that so they're so consistent that you don't really remember their pop-off games because they don't have them. They just continue to play in such a consistent manner,
Yeah. Well, another team to talk about tonight as well is Team Orchid. Won the block yesterday. They only have 13 points right now, so they're struggling a little bit. And yes, okay, you can have one bad block, but this close to regionals, it's not what you need going forward, because especially that this is their last week until 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, Team Orchid, one of these squads that will be sitting by and watching next week. And while they do currently sit in 2nd place, the team that sits behind them, Wolves, is short of match day. Teams behind them still also of the likes of VK Gaming who can pop off. And while, yeah, top 9 teams make LAN, we still talk about, the importance of seeding of those 9s, because POI drafts can be very important when it comes to LAN, to make sure that you are able to get points through group stage so you don't end up in that lower bracket to start things off. But you know what? We've been talking enough about as far as the future. Let's talk about the here and now as we do get ready to drop into map number 5. And we'll take a look. Not only do you get to see all where the teams are dropping, you can see some of those scores along both the left and right sides here, and there's still plenty of room for teams to be able to make stuff shake. Dog Red have been relatively quiet. They were on, I think it was like 42 or 44 points after 2. We've got a bunch of teams that are in that mid 20 to 30 point or to low 30 point range who can still maybe even vie for that top spot over the course of these last 2 maps.
I wonder if we get a neon square zone here, or do we head to Draft Point Street Market kind of area? I haven't seen one down there. No, it does look like we are going to have a neon square zone here for game number 5. We only have 2 more games left for our A versus C, which means every team in in Group A have only 2 games left to prove that they deserve a spot in regional finals. One of them teams, well, BCG. Obviously, I kind of called them that they were going to cement their spot at Paris in this split. Hasn't been the case for BCG, but it seems like this team kind of just needs a good run, because after the first week, I think they came 2nd. Since then, they've really struggled.
Yeah, they had a really strong start to their season. You figure, hey, they're in a pretty good spot. I didn't blame you for having high expectations for this team. I mean, even just when you look at their roster, plenty of experience within APAC South itself. But this is their last match day. And while, yeah, we've mentioned before, just making regional finals, anybody who's in that lobby technically has the ability to qualify. If you don't have a strong finish here, then you will be one of those teams that's required to win regional finals, which is just an extra stress you really don't want to have.
And this team, 1 point today. Oh, the boys have only had 1 point. Their best placement has been 14th, so they will need to try and turn their day around here inside the ring, but I don't like their chances this late on. We've Game 5 underway. It looks like Rendang on their tail, looking to try and get rid of him here early on as well.
The teams have already started rotating and making their way over towards some combination of Blossom Drive and Neon Square. It does seem more teams prioritizing the Blossom Drive over the Neon Square, as I think most teams seeing that double ring touch over on that southwestern side. But yeah, you had mentioned it was Rendang who was on the hunt for a moment. Does look like inside the ring has been able to find themselves safely inside the ring. The question is now, is there any sort of real estate for Rendang to find themselves a spot?
Have to wait and see as we are looking at inside the ring, who have found themselves a spot for now, Q, but wait to see how it goes. With no Watson on the field, it's going to be hard for a lot of these teams, which does mean that Rampart will be getting pulled out a lot more moving forward. It does look like Rendang maybe being aggressive here as well, Q.
Still early on, we'll see as far as who's going to be the first team to suffer those early knocks, and especially who is going to fall first. As much as we always talk about how D-District gives us some of those slower early games, I feel like we always see at least a team fall during the initial ring here. However, with more teams already finding their way over towards that Blossom Drive Neon Square combo, and the fact that it is the last two games of the second to last match day, maybe not so much going to be the case. Team Ubi is going to be trying to find their way in as far as in towards this next zone, and I don't know if they're going to be worried about any fights over on their side of the zone for now.
Nice shots coming out from S8UL. Do have a lot of Wraiths still out there as well, Q. I feel like Wraith doesn't get utilized enough. I feel like she is one of the most OP legends in the game. It would be nice to see a lot of the guys use her a lot more, but as you can see, there's not many Axels out here either, Q, in this game. So as strong as Axel was at the start, and everyone thought she was most likely going to be that legend that got banned first or second every game, it really does look like that has changed pretty drastically.
Yeah, I wonder if we get to a scenario where there's like Olympus last on a map set, where if maybe that would be where we see Axel banned relatively late, just because teams like to fight, have a little bit faster of a pace. But I would say due to the fact that we do have more packed end games, Axel, while strong to take fights, sometimes gives you that extra self-confidence, right? Teams, I feel like, overheat. We even see that a little bit like in your pubs, your ranked games. And that's a mistake that can get punished oh so quick at the highest of levels when you have 20 teams of the caliber that are in these ALGS lobbies.
I feel like the last time we saw one of these zones, that was that Battle of APAC, right? We had 19, 20 squads left, round 4. It was insane.
Yeah, it was insane. And we already have, what is it, 16 teams that have already at least are inside what will be ring number 3. You take out ARAM, PXX, and then who is that on the far bottom right? Benigno. Everyone else is already fine, and even PXX is in ring 3.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's a lot of teams already playing early on here, getting some spots. Refrain has enough heavy ammo for sure for that 30-30, 350 exact. Black Hole just ratting for a little bit. Titan Esports Club very close by as well. Well, BCG sitting in a top 7 at the moment, Q. From 7th to 3rd, it is only like, sorry, from 10th to 3rd, it is only 8 points difference.
Doesn't take much to be able to shift up the leaderboard. However, you wonder if Dog Red can find a way to pop off in this game number 5 the way they did early, and they re-extend and at least make sure that they are fine, because if not, that 10th through 3rd can even turn into 10th to 2nd or 10th to 1st if those top 2 teams go out relatively quickly here. For Black Hole, they're still stuck inside of this building. They've been able to keep themselves safe and tucked behind their Newcastle wall. Like a lot of these teams, it's going to be about that time where you have to start thinking about how can I find ways to upgrade these Evos.
Red. Very close by, as we can see. Wolves Esports also trying to find a place to play. Well, there's a fair few rooms to play underneath that bridge. I forget about the bridge and the tunnel area. So Wolves Esports set up for now. We still have 20 squads left standing, as we can see. Right here, we'll have a look at where that zone is going, Q. And, well, it could be the exact zone where it finished on that bridge once again.
And it is looking to be a similar sort of end game here. That does mean, 4 teams, especially like Wolves, in a pretty solid spot. You see Bastion trying to kind of take a little bit of room next to them, but will end up falling back. But when we look across from them, Dog Red currently in that #1 spot, also relatively close to where it feels like this thing should be ending. The problem when you're one of those first teams that's in those prime real estates is you take fights, you gotta wrap them up quick, otherwise that third party can be costly.
Wolves for now just relaxing. Dog Red very close by as well. I think that's S8UL have made their way inside a building, so I don't feel like we're going to get much fighting happening at all, Q. Probably till like round 3, maybe closing into 4.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, it's just going to be about these teams poking and prodding, trying to upgrade those Evos and at least prepare themselves here for the end game. For teams like ARAM, they won't have to do that as much. They're already sitting on the triple purple, and they're relatively central as well. We had headed into the day, and Veneno was one of our squads that we were keeping an eye on, especially when it comes to qualifying for that regional finals. They've had a pretty good day thus far, currently sitting in 3rd with 35 points, and honestly, their composition allows them to really lock down the building with where they're sitting really central. The one thing I would like to see them is just be able to upgrade those last Evos up a little bit, but there's still plenty of time for them to do just that.
Plenty of time, in fact. Only round number 2, and there's only 30 seconds left here, Q, for round 2 to start closing. Round 3 will then get underway. We can have a look at what it looks like from afar. As we can see, yes, a lot of teams, a lot of players will be going down on your right of your screen, and when it's as slow as this, a lot of the teams do like to use the revive method to get their Evo harvesters up to purple or blue, because at the moment, as you can see, not much chance of teams to be able to rotate, chasing Evo harvesters or getting damage.
One still staying relatively put, and as we continue to get more ring knowledge, you'll still see that majority of these teams are still in a position where they won't have to move, and if they do, their teams like RRQ just outside of the ring, just to the southwest of DCG here, where they barely have to move at all. So we still should be at this position where there won't be too much fighting. And yeah, especially because of the fact that it's so packed, right? And I don't envy these players in these zones like this one here, because I don't know about you, Stoney. I know when I get sitting in one spot too long, my trigger finger gets a little itchy. I'm wanting to hold W and just push onto somebody. Without that discipline, you could really put yourself from in a good position to in a lobby, or back in the lobby, quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure at the moment. As we can see, though, it does look like we are going to have a little bit of a fight underway. Razi does get one down. The bubble might go down. Razi will move back, uses his Q. Now, all of a sudden, that fight has stopped as well. But that was awkward, who were just outside. Don't know what they were doing, but we do get the reset here with 20 squads left alive. That means round 3 is about to start close as well. Excuse me. And look at that zone. Yuck. What a pullback. So, a lot of teams in that Neon Square area, but it is in a really good spot here for Havoc, TYK, and PXX.
So you know what's really funny? You see that building DCG are currently in? If you look to the building that's just to the, I guess, southwest of that, that's where RRQ was. And they ended up rotating up to just in between BCG and S8UL, which is not a spot I would want to be in. And now you've got like 4 squads that are going to be rotating south into them as well. So the only reason I wanted to bring that up, it felt like RRQ could have just been fine where they were at. They only had to move just a little bit in, and instead now could put themselves in a very dangerous spot, especially with 20 squads still being left in this lobby.
Squads still out here, no fighting at all. We have a minute and 50 seconds left until round 5 gets underway. I feel like we're going to see a fair few teams. Well, I hope we're going to see a fair few teams get eliminated here in a second, because this is going to get very hard for me to try and move to all the fights in a second when this starts to happen. So with a minute and 10 seconds left, you're going to see a lot of teams starting to make their decisions, and well, Wraith Portals and Ramparts definitely going to start coming out.
Wonder, as far as with the Ramparts in play, how many of these teams that are going to be looking to gatekeep these squads out have those Sheilas revved up and ready to go? BCG, teams like Havoc don't have too far. Actually, Havoc technically inside this next ring as well, and might just be looking to try and keep some of these squads out on their rotates. BXX, I feel like I've been quiet for the last game and a half maybe, while they are just outside the top 5. You know, they have the ability to take home games. Let's see if maybe they can make a play here in game 5.
Nice nades coming out from Dooms. They will need to be careful as Team Orchid that are trying to figure out as well, but they will get eliminated. So Orchid goes out. Benino now trying to stay alive. It does look like Rendang are moving in on a team. R9 shots coming out. We're going to see some action now coming underway. This team should get eliminated. QWQ are gone as well. Now all of a sudden, we're down to 18 squads. Only 2 teams eliminated so far here with round 4 closing. 45 seconds left until it is fully closed and we head into round number 5.
Well, I had said where the spot that RRQ was dangerous. They were able to move a little bit. They've been able to keep themselves alive. DCG also a relatively decent spot, taking this fight on the outside of the building, and it will be Roy who does fall. The Ultra looks to try and make a play onto the inside. Lil San also still on their feet. That will help as far as the reset when it does come to that new castle. Pyro-sama will be the last one on their feet for inside the ring. Will look likely have to play the remainder of this as a solo.
S8UL in a pretty good spot. I don't mind that at all. UV still alive. Also 18 squads alive in a round 5 situation. Insane quality right now is what we're getting at APAC South. Something that we're not used to, that is for sure. But with Benino still alive, they're going to be looking to try and figure out where they want to rotate in as well.
Benino surrounded by some squads as well. This is going to be a tough rotate for them. They've got teams like Rendang who also need to have quite a bit of a journey. And remember, Rendang, one of those teams that we mentioned, still needs to have a relatively strong performance here today, and it's been quiet thus far. They're starting to run out of time, and now they've got their Alter that has been knocked. Matter of fact, all 3 of them go down, and Rendang out in the 17th spot.
Now, Rendang's ultimate, though, killed the team that they were fighting as well, so that ultimate went absolutely insane. We now have 16 squads left alive with 25 seconds left in round 5. Yep, that is correct. I said those words out loud, which is insane at the moment. 16 squads with 15 seconds left before we get into our final zone.
Where things get crazy. PXX taking a fight here with RRQ. Who's going to be able to come out on top? You got that Mastiff in the hand of XD. RRQ, it's all left to Easy Flash Kid, who should be able to get this battery off. You're playing the Ultra, which gives you some movement to either tuck tail and run, or maybe play sneaky to be able to get some of those players back on in. But Wolves Esports have played a beautiful ability to move on in and clean up some KP.
Now down to our final 14 squads. Round 6, 30 seconds away from getting underway. Wolves still trying to reset at the moment, but they're okay for now. But here comes the push from Yubi, looking to be aggressive. As we can see, alternator in the hand. That's No Name moving on in. X-Bolts is farming a little bit here. Oh, I don't know if he meant to take that. Is all up to Dooms. The Massive, down goes one. Hold on a second, No Name. Can they get the Reds here? Actually might be the play. Nice 95. They will get eliminated. Wolves Esports holding it down. So Yubi, they will get puts down Black Hole now, getting rid of S8UL as well. We're now down to 10 squads left alive. Titan Esports Club still alive as well. Veneno still out here also. And well, Veneno with the Graver and the alternator in the hand. Razi, oh my God! Gapwang goes down. There's only one more man left standing. Can he clean it up? Veneno. Oh my God! Sits down. Razi now looking to try and stay alive. 10 squads left. Round 6. This is insane.
Nino still being able to stay up on their feet, and Razi pinning across the way with the Kraber. And that's another big shot, and that's going to be Black Hole out. Now Razi will turn their attention to this team off towards their right, continuing to send those alternator shots to at least try and spray away at the shield, and will now look to regroup with their team to play out the rest of this endgame.
Here we go. Where do they play? Where does Razi take the boys? They are in some trouble at the moment, and it's only because there's not much real estate left when you have 9 squads. His accuracy at the moment with the Kraber is just insane. He's going to get his kill on Gapwang as well. I feel like I can't get off the dude at the moment with 9 squads left.
No, I mean, the way that Razi's popping off right now, you might as well keep the POV right here. Got the Kraber still in the hand. We'll have to tuck down to make sure that they can at least get the shield cell off, but more shots getting sent their way, and they're being amplified by that rampart wall as well. Gonna have to use the Q to reposition. The problem is they're starting to run out of space. Goat now gonna be out, and Veneno might be joining them here shortly.
It doesn't look good. Havoc now on the height as well. Beautiful R9 shots. The sear scan comes out as well. Down goes 1, down goes 2. They need to be careful. The triple take, not going to be enough. Have NW getting some kills as well. We're now down to our final 6 squads. TYK trying to stay alive with all these teams rotating in. Titan Esports Clubs, that's one of them. Beautiful R9 shots, the caustic gas as well. It feels like this is finishing on the bridge. Like we said, Q, I feel like this might just be whichever team wins the heel off. I could be wrong though. As we can see, teams rotating down. The bubbles, the walls, the teams trying to stay alive. Refrain now down as a solo. Wolves Esports with a Kraber in the hand. What the hell is going on?
Problem is Wolves are going to be playing from the low ground, which makes this a little bit tougher here. As far as for this last fight, HAB NW tries to push on down. I think that should be enough to disrupt it, and yes, indeed it is. You cause enough havoc to be able to take down Wolves Esports, and HAB NW come out on top.
I don't know what we just watched. That was insane. Beautiful Apex by Apex South here in game number 5. We had one more game to go for our AVC. And well, HABNW getting their first win today as well. Black Road, Tasting Blood, and Hahoy. Beautifully done. Let's go and have a look at the match summary. And well, Wolves. Oh, hold on a second.
Good morning.
Hello, there we go. HABNW with a 22-point game. Wolves Esports with 21 points. Titan Esports Club get 3rd. TYK 4th. Relove at DCG in the top 5. We'll go and have a look at the series overall. And well, after 5 games, Q, Wolves Esports now move into the lead with 65 points. Dog Red sitting 2nd. Veneno 3rd. Titan Esports Club 4th, and TYK rounding out the top 5. I guess we're going to have a look at which legend is getting banned.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of curious here. It felt like Newcastle it was okay, closer than that. But yeah, it will be Newcastle actually.
Newcastle
that will be taken off of the board. We figured it was probably going to be a defensive legend. I mean, Newcastle makes sense, especially with that extra reset ability for teams here. So no Newcastle heading into our final map of the day.
That means that there is still Gibby, which is good to see. Now, before that game, Q, we had only one Rampart chosen. only one Rampart chosen. Now in that lobby,
कुछ
she
बोला
has
मैंने
been
नींद में
chosen 8 times, which then obviously
3
changes
मैच खत्म हो गया क्या
the
बात कर रहे हो
stats
एक
as
ही
well.
मैप
So
सोई
it's
ना मैं
amazing as the games go along and as the bands start to come out, how different the legend picking is lately. And well, that is what the bands are going to look like for A versus CQ. And I mean, it's probably not what we were expecting, but it looks about right.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, not surprised to see Wolves up at the top as far as like the lobby, right? But definitely weird as far as how they've gotten there. I think they've gotten 43 points over the course of the last 2 games. So able to come down the home stretch here as far as for their points wise in a good spot. And now as far as our legend composition, while we did see a little bit of a switch up, I think in those first couple of games, I think when you talk about the 5 legends band heading into game number 6, about on par for what we've been seeing, at least here as of late as well. So one more map here, Stoney. For
Good
some of
morning.
these teams,
राइट
it's
बॉटम
their
फेस कैम
last
करोगी तो
map
सबके
of
वेपन्स
the
और सब
regular
छुप जाएंगे
season
ना
before regional finals. For a handful of these squads, it could very well be their last map of Pro League.
Yeah, which is sad.
चलो चलो मैच
But I feel
6 हम
like a lot of
जीते
teams are really
जीत
showing
जाएंगे
that they don't want
जीतेंगे
this
for
to
sure.
be it. And one team that is showing that is Veneno and TEC. So we said that they needed to have a really good day together. And well, as we can see, this is what it looks like before today. And well, at the moment, Veneno only with 13 kills, TEC with 14 kills. They're doing really well with their placements as I feel like they're very consistent in that top 3, top 5 kind of situation of these games.
Yeah, we even saw that with Veneno in that first game of the day, even as a duo, right? Able to still find themselves some decent placement, but placement does only get you so far, right? We generally see what separates the best from the rest is those teams who are still able to slay their way to those top finishes. And now with only one map left, I think both of these teams in a situation where they're going to maybe more so Veneno than TEC, but both teams still going to have to try and end things with a bang if they're going to want to make sure that they can put a finish line or put a qualifying line that at least make sure that they make their way
पूरा
into
मैप
regional
सोई क्या मैं
finals.
कभी सोई मुझे याद ही नहीं आ रहा
Very, very tough times. And it comes down now to this final game here for both teams. And I mean, well, this
Average
is the
sleep
last chance
deprived
we'll get a
person.
chance to see the POI draft. And well, as we can see for the boys of Veneno, they had a pretty good rotate to get where they were in that game, and they did well.
ये पूरा
as
मैप सोई
well.
मैं
Also,
मैं मैप के स्टार्ट पे
I
सो
want
गई
to talk about RRQ though. You did talk about the position that they were in that
मैं
game,
तो ऐसे लेटी थी
and
ना
kind of just rotated more towards the neon square area. I'm pretty sure you said so. Do you feel like they're just questioning a lot today? Considering, I mean,
मैं ऐसे बैठी थी
they're
उधर
still
ऐसे
only
कैसे
10
हो गई
points away from top 4, so they only need like a win and a good, or you know, like a top 5 with some kills. All of a sudden, they finish top 5 today. But you feel like they're questioning their end game calls a little bit.
चलो last game
Yeah, I felt like even earlier,
before the
I can't remember what game it was.
finals
Game 1 or 2,
I think we will
had
win
talked
this
about a little bit of hesitation from them, right? Like they're a team that we know has the talent, and sometimes making the wrong decision with confidence is better than making the right decision with question, right? And you can't help but wonder maybe just a little bit of hesitation going on over on that RRQ side. We did mention obviously bringing on Easy Flash during the break. We saw him have a decent performance during Battle of APAC, but even before that, I mentioned, you know, generally we've seen on Strafing Flame squads, Strafing Flame led squads in the past, that generally Strafing kind of is in one of that either frag or refrag position, whereas it feels like now with this composition, having to play more of that anchor role, and I think still trying to figure out how that works with the synergy of these three.
Yeah, and they don't really have long, really, do they? When you think about it, they got this weekend and then next weekend. Actually, I think they may have played already. Let's go actually and have a look before we get into this final game.
Yeah, they're of our teams that this is their last one.
This is
their
last
week.
one as well. So, you know, they're looking for a pretty big finish. A top 5 is something that they really need right now, and at the moment they're sitting 10th. S8UL, they would probably benefit from a top 5 also. But RRQ, they really need this top 5.
31 हमारे points
Especially when you look at how close, I mean, from 6th, I mean, we can really call that down to 13th, maybe even 14th, really, right? Especially considering that at 13th is Team Ubi that is short a day. I mean, I guess when you consider being short a day, you could even include DCG in the mix of that.
Number one.
RRQ, yeah, with this being your last match day and this being your last map, really need to be able to finish things off with a bang and be able to secure yourself into a top 5 on the day, which should at least make sure that you're feeling comfortable heading into regional finals.
Have to wait and see how it goes as everyone is getting in to the final.
मुझे लग रहा है आज आर्यन टेक्स वालों को खुद ही वॉच पार्टी करनी पड़ेगी अपनी मैच। एक्चुअली मैं ना अभी उठी क्योंकि मैं सोच रही थी, मेरे दिमाग में ऐसा वॉच पार्टी आया कहीं से तो।
This is all she wrote for Lobby A here, and I mean at the moment we're getting a little bit of everything.
वाले को खुद ही अपनी वॉच पार्टी करनी पड़ेगी लियोसन के अगेंस्ट।
तो
2-0 ही करना चाहिए, नहीं किया तो बहुत जज करूंगी मैं।
There you go. Give me an Electro Dam ending as well. That's still northeastern side of the zone, I suppose. We did mention after that map number 4, we talked how we've seen a decent amount of City Hall. We have seen a decent amount of zones ending right where that more
क्या बात है, चेयर तक आ गया, प्रोग्रेस, बड़ी प्रोग्रेस।
They're also going to be looking to get that scan relatively
I think I should take this evening to reset
spot as far as for early game.
I need to reset.
Right, and CQ as we
before I re-sleep on stream.
Landing, and well, there we go. We're gonna have a Lotus zone. If this pulls back to City Hall, I might headbutt my monitor.
AnkkitaC वाले जीत जाएंगे आज लियोसन 2-0.
Wait and see how it goes.
मेरे prediction 2-0. गलत हुए तो मैं block कर दूंगी इन लोग
This is
सबको
probably what
WhatsApp पे.
S8UL need. Just as much here, Q, with this one. Sitting in 8th position, I think they are at the moment with 31 points. They're doing everything else right on the game, just not getting themselves in the best spots at the last
carry होके भी तो करना है.
Very ending. So we may have another game, Q, considering if this is a Lotus zone, if it does pull hard Lotus, we could have another 20 squads round 5, round 4 easily.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because like those Lotus buildings, while there aren't many up there, they are rather big and they've got multiple levels to them, right? And then there is some playable real estate as far as around there too. So ARAM, if it ends up heading their way, they're going to have to quickly move into what they feel could be the winning position. Otherwise, if you get caught on like a middle floor as a team lands on top as well as a team takes your bottom floor, then you're kind of stuck. So right now, currently sitting on the 3, White T is going to need to quickly see if they can find a way to level those up. Evo
Silent
as far as that regards. Let's see what they can find as far as while they're looting.
और भौंकना allowed नहीं है.
See teams starting to rotate in. Everyone's going to find a spot. This is going to be, once again, Q, it's going to be a very slow game considering this zone that we've been given. We've been given, when you think of it on World's Edge terms, there's 2 back-to-back skyhook zones. So a lot of teams now having a lot of buildings to play with here as well, but the 20 squad's still standing like we showed you guys with the ALGS standings. There's still a lot riding for a lot of these teams.
I'm wondering 4 teams like Arende currently sit towards the bottom of our current leaderboards and towards that dangerous spot as far as regional finals. If maybe they choose to up the pace a little bit, which then in turn almost gets that like fear of loss factor for some of the other teams that are at the risk. We're like, oh, well, I need to be able to pick up my KP now as well. And who knows, maybe what could be a very disciplined game number 6 turns into a very hectic game number 6. But still yet to see our first elimination, at least as of yet. We've seen a couple of players get knocked, but no crazy fighting as of now.
Yeah, nothing crazy as of now. And it's kind of the zone where you will see a lot of teams do the knockdown again because they're rotating so fast to zone, but it does look like maybe Titan Esports clubs could be in a little bit of trouble here.
They were one of our teams that we were keeping an eye on going into today, and they were pretty well sitting right on the cusp of the bubble, and they've had a decent day. Still feels like you still would prefer to have a good game number 6 to ensure that you're in a nice spot as far as on the leaderboard. They currently sit in 4th with 40 points. The problem is you got teams of the like of TYK and Havoc who have shown the ability to have pop-off games in their own right. Meanwhile, teams like Black Hole, they're still looking for where they want to set up shop at, because they've already made their way to Lotus. Bottom floor, though, a tough place to play from.
मेरे मॉड्स ने कुछ काम किया था
very tough, as we can see.
सैलरी कट करनी पड़ेगी.
20 squads still standing.
Gotta cut it. Refund मांगना पड़ेगा मेरे को.
Very passive gameplay as well. Long range weapons coming in. Wolves Esports already in a good
hey,
spot.
Vedant, what's up?
You know, we were
रोहन समझ नहीं आ रहा आप compliment कर रहे हो या नहीं.
At the moment on these back end of the games, and when they win one, it just feels like they are always there.
मॉड भी सोने गया था, मैं मॉड तो सोते ही रहता है रात को
next games. As soon as they're warmed up, it's hard to never see them again.
Get moving. They definitely seem to be a team that really is able to hold on to the momentum. That is for sure. XX have themselves a decent spot. They're also in a good spot as far as the overall leaderboards for the split thus far. We kind of considered where PXX was sitting to kind of be that cutoff of teams that are going to be feeling safe going into regional finals as far as their spot qualifying for what is now Paris for EWC. Titan Esports Club, mentioned earlier, they had a decent first 5 games. I just don't know if a 4th... Remember, those top 3 spots is where those exponential points kind of grow from the rest of the pack. 4th is good. If they can find a way to put themselves in that top 2, they're gaining like, was that 4 or 5 points, which it was huge for a team that's looking to make sure that they can qualify in the regional finals.
Yeah, 100%. We'll go and have a look at another team that needs a good ending here, and that is RRQ. They do, I don't know. Let's have a look if they have... Okay, they do have ring knowledge. So it seems like maybe they're just playing really slow at the moment, moving into zone. They might just try and get all the Evo harvesters on this edge and rotate late. Considering because it's a smart move when you think about it. You don't want to be like the other 16 teams who are hard in the northern side of zone, because if it pulls back to City Hall, all of a sudden these teams, these boys here have a free rotate in towards that south side of this next zone. But we'll have a quick look now where this is going, and well, that's not going to be the case. So we are going to head to Lotus for game number 6.
Look like Lotus, but I'm wondering if it still eventually ends up pulling just a little bit closer to that choke point, which does mean for some of those teams all the way to the north of the likes of PXX, QWQ, well, as much as you feel safe for now, you'll still eventually need to kind of fight your way from the north towards the south. You're talking about RRQ as far as where they were sitting. They've been seeing them playing pretty hard edge throughout the course of the day. What's been interesting is despite the fact they've been playing hard edge, they haven't been able to find themselves much successes for those early game fights. They haven't been able to find early KP, which means when those fights later on go down, you end up falling. You haven't really gotten the extra payoff from playing the edge. Black Hole will be able to fall back with that portal. Be able to get a quick reset here. They're on the southern side of Lotus, and we mentioned with these couple of buildings that have all of the floors to them, they should be fine with coexisting with these few squads that are in their vicinity for now.
QWQ still as grey shields at the moment. This one. The napkin shields.
We should get good points, so I can celebrate.
To call them out here. 20 squads still standing, Q, and
hello,
like I said, I feel like this is
going
to be one of those
today we're like,
I
think 8th or 9th right now.
The problem with a Lotus zone,
but in the overall standings we're still number 1. I don't think Wolves is... How far ahead is Wolves from us? Like, do you think they can overtake us with the points they want?
Getting into some of the action,
I think
and well, they will get eliminated.
There's like a 20-point difference between us, so I'm not really sure.
In round number 2, as it does look like round 2 is about to start closing with 19 squads left standing.
I did tell you that if there's any team that I expected to try and be disruptive to the slower pace game, Rendang was one of them, currently sitting in the 19th spot. I guess actually a little bit higher now after those couple of KP, but they need to be able to find a way to pop off.
They're playing on console or PC. They're all playing on PC, but some of them are on controllers.
For regional finals,
सब PC पे ही खेल रहे हैं, but बस कुछ लोग controller पे हैं instead of mouse and keyboard. इसमें allowed है ऐसा.
Rampart to be able to really help fortify their current situation. Might be able to look for a potential capture or something off of the Wraith later on, and they can also obviously use that for rotation. So really looking liking as far as their position along with their composition.
19 squads still left alive. Aram. Pretty sure Aram have this POI. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Aram are landing here, so they haven't had to move at all.
Somebody fight, bro.
But 19 squads still alive. There's still a fair bit of real estate to be played, as we know, but we have 25 seconds left until round 2 is fully closed, and we'll be able to have a look at seeing where that round number 4 is headed.
If it is indeed continuing to stick up on this more northern side of the Lotus, or at least which of the couple of buildings will get priority for those later zones? Because we mentioned a lot of these do have multiple levels, and if yours is the first building that's out, now all of a sudden you're having to take those fights not only with the teams inside of your building, but then fight your way inside of one of the next ones here. Wolves Esports currently sitting in first place. We mentioned has had a strong game 4 and 5. They put together, I think it's 43 points of their 65 over the course of the last 2 games. And, well, for them, they're going to look to try and push as close to S8UL in the overall standings as possible. As we do get information, though, it does seem as far as right now, QWQ and Rendang still have a really solid spot on that northernmost building.
करने क्योंकि वरना फिर जोन उनके सामने से जाना पड़ता. अच्छा वापस आ गए, बोले नहीं होगा भाई वापस आओ.
They would have to move to this left side. I feel like DCG have put themselves in a really good spot for the last one as well. And as we know, they love coming out here, winning the last game of majority of every set. So at the moment, they look pretty good in the position that they're at. And at the moment, Team Orchid, a team that have struggled today, didn't struggle yesterday. Looking to try and get rid of a team that's been pretty good today, and that's happening.
Ayush, आपको 15 मिनट मेरी stream rewind करनी चाहिए.
Had a decent day. Havoc would like to end things on an exclamation mark, though, as they are one of the teams who is still in the hunt as far as the land. Would like a good finish here, and what some shots right there to be able to land and push it forward, man. Right now, Havoc beaming.
Told you. Havoc losing this fight, bro. I told you, as soon as that first guy got knocked, no. I just knew Havoc would lose this fight.
Beautiful fight. That was actually exciting to watch. All thanks to Axel here in game 6. 18 squads still left alive. Veneno as a duo, so not the best start here for these boys in their end game. They obviously have done pretty well with Reeves. He did load up on a laptop, I think, for games 2 to 5 with 60 FPS. So pretty good effort by the lads of Veneno today. As we can see, we're going to see some action now as Wolves Esports have their hands full with Team Orchid, who have made their way into zone, and all of a sudden they are on the back foot and not looking too good. A flow now will drop, and it does not look good for Team Orchid, as they might be getting eliminated at 18th position.
Separated from the rest of their squad, going to have to play out of sight and out of mind, and at this point, more than likely going to have to play the remainder as a solo. Tough spot here if you're a flow. Should be able to get back up to a full trio here, as they do look to stick the revive. BCG, well, they're in a spot where they're still looking to try and end things strong in game number 6. Remember, for them, they are on the outside of the bubble looking in. We tune back in. Nice longbow shots here by our Rampart. Peacekeeper shot sent across the way as well as inside the ring. Now out, and I think we may have just cursed BCG. They could be going out in just a moment as well.
DCG might be in some trouble. I was talking about DCG, so we haven't cursed them yet. They should be okay for now. 17 squads still alive. We can see BCG going to be left alive as a solo. So we'll have a look at this zone for our last time, Q, and look at how many teams are still out here. What a disgusting pool that is.
बस जोन के एज पे ही है, बस घुस ही गए जोन में तो घुस गए जोन में तो
let me say what you also said for DCG. If it pulls that way, they put themselves in a good position, and that's definitely going to be the case. You could even say the same thing for Goat, who are on the other side of that choke where things are going to be heading. The lone player for BCG, heck, I don't think they're going to really be able to do much. Oh, actually, they're sticking a death box respawn off screen. So
I think
we'll see if
they'll
be able to get back to a full trio. Black Hole, however, they're making their way towards zone, and it does look like they will be able to also at least kind of out of sight for right now.
S8UL still alive, also not in a bad spot. Titan Esports Club looking to clean up a fight here. Beautiful shots coming out, beautiful ultimate. A couple going down. Titan Esports Club get rid of both Esports. We're now down to 16 squads left alive. Battlefield now looking to move on in. It seems like we're going to have a lot of little fights starting to happen. BCG get eliminated, Goat get eliminated. We're now down to 14 squads. TYK are looking to rotate in here as well with 14 squads still standing.
You know what, I've been looking at all these teams in my lobby for too long. It's time for the fighting to start, and that's exactly what's unfolding on your screen. We've seen 6 teams sent back to the lobby. Earlier when we were sitting on floor with Orchid, they were down to a solo. Looks like they were able to get back up onto their feet, and they're going to be able to do so once more. This is going to be where that extra little benefit of the conduit once they reset will also help in these fights on this edge. For ARAM, Song Yu is the last left alive on the top floor of their building, and I don't think they're going to be able to make a play as far as for the death boxes. They're pushed up on, and it will be Orchid who takes them out.
Orchid now starting to cook a little bit here, Q, for our last game. 13 squads still standing. We're looking to try and get some KP. Beautiful shots coming out from the boys of Dog Red. They're looking to try and keep their foot on the pedal as well. Veneno, Titan Esports Clubs, the two teams we've been talking about all day. Both of these teams still standing, but look at how far Veneno are away from this zone. This is where it gets pretty hard for the teams rotating in. Titan Esports Club, well, they're trying to figure their way in as well, Q, as it looks like they're in the middle here, trying to figure their life out.
Yeah, where the zone's heading, there's not too much coverage, as you can see in the top left-hand corner of your screen. So these teams that are just outside the ring trying to delay the push in as long as possible, especially for Titan Esports Club, where they're currently out on their roof. They've got plenty of security, and they're looking to try and pick up some KP as other teams are rotating their way on in. S8UL still currently sitting on 3 blue shields, but do have all 3 players up on their feet. Nice swing through from Legacy, sprays some shots across the way, but not able to find enough.
Beautiful shots coming out. Team Orca now trying to figure out their life as Dog Red now getting the kills. We'll go back to S8UL as they have their hands forward, and they might have to be aggressive here, Q, to try and take that side of zone. I don't think the team that they're looking at are in zone, so we may see a push here in a second. And as we can see, they will move in. They don't get any shots to hit, but it is Titan Esports Club still trying to figure out how to stay alive at the moment. QWQ looking at him as well. Team Orca getting eliminated, and it's all starting to unfold.
Thank you guys for the
10, one more ring, and that thing starts to close in 45 seconds. Ubi should be able to hold off against this bombardment and should be able to get themselves a reset. Dog Red, you mentioned they're looking for a strong finish. They've got the protection of this bubble for now. RRQ now all going to be left up Pricey, and Pricey is getting hunted down. S8UL takes them out.
S8UL getting the job, as we can see the bubble coming out as well. Caustic gas also. Legacy needs to be careful. We're now down to our final zone, as we can see. H, A, B, and W getting rid of Dog Red. We have 7 squads left. Relove DCG starting to stay alive as well. Looking good at the moment. Veneno get eliminated. Titan Esports Club still alive, which means they most likely will go over Veneno, which will not help Veneno.
7 teams alive
here in making regional finals. We are now down
7.
to our final 7
Hala
squads
for a reason.
with the round 6 closing.
JBNW is going to close in on the high ground here, where Titan Esports Club are currently taking a fight with Team Oob be. They'll
सब
look to
लोग
play
लड़ लो
third party and
और
play
मर जाओ ताकि
spoiler
हमको पॉइंट्स
here
मिले।
as well. I don't think they've been
आ
able
गई
to
आवाज
find
तो
an
इसके
opening,
पहले
not
आवाज नहीं आ
just
रही थी
quite
क्या?
yet, as the team they're looking to push is on the other side inside this
इसके
bubble.
पहले आवाज नहीं आ रही थी क्या
Now
guys?
looking to play aggressive, but I think accidentally stepping through the portal.
Okay,
This
two
is
more
tough.
kills,
DCG
two more kills
looking
for
pretty
Jesco.
good. As we said, there's one
दो
team that
ना,
loves the
दो के
last
एक।
game victory, and that is DCG. They are looking to try and stay alive here. The caustic trap's coming out as well. 6 squads left alive. S8UL also still out here looking for their victory to move into the top 5 and cement their spot to Paris, which we already know was going to happen anyways. But we're
और
now
एक
down to
और
our
बंदा
final 4 squads,
एक
and
और
there's
की भी
all
आ गई
starting to
टीसी की
unfold.
तरफ से bro. I think we low key winning this bro.
S8UL,
We're winning this one.
DCG, and HABNW.
No,
It's
I don't know.
HABNW who technically sit on the high ground and who can't
क्या
take
करे
top
रूफ पे इनको
shots
तो गिराओ
at
रूफ
the
पे
two
से।
teams on either side of the low ground. The question is, do either of those two squads have a way to push up high? I thought maybe the Ultra
ये
might
भाई
be able to do
जिसको
so,
क्या
but once
मारे
DCG
हो।
goes out, that gives HABNW
अभी
the
ये
ability to
क्या
push down
हैब
that caustic
NW
ult.
versus
Should help
S8UL
them
guys.
take the
We
dub.
can actually win this one.
Gameplay so
Actually
far.
possible,
Oh my
low
God,
key.
with the beautiful hit by
Kills तो अच्छे खासे
Kramer,
निकाले
trying
इस
to
बार
get
यार
another
अपनी
one.
टीम ने
Needs to be
बहुत अच्छे
careful.
kills निकाले
He's
इस बार।
eating a little bit
ये
too
देखो
much of that defensive bombardment, but this should be
क्या
another
लाइक शार्की लेगेसी रिंग से डाउन हो गए।
victory here in
fuck
game number
zone से मर
6,
गए।
and they go back to back for A versus C.
I think we still
Just
might
like
have
that
more
one
points
great
than the
Drake
winning
track,
team, so
and
that's
that puts
fine.
them in a
Because that will put us
phenomenal
on
spot
top in the
on
overall standings
leaderboards
anyway.
as well. That helps them secure the
But
podium.
it will bring us above
And
in
for
the
a
overall
team that
standings
was
anyway. I think we have more
currently
points than
sitting
the winning
in
team.
23rd going into the day. We talked about the importance of
That's
putting
fine
yourself
then.
hopefully into the top 20 for
क्योंकि अपने
regionals,
players
but
ने
at minimum
कुछ
making sure you're
insane kills
over that
निकाले इस
threshold
मैच।
so you
मतलब
don't
kills
have
के
to
लिए तो
worry
बहुत
about those opens come split number 2.
इनके 8 है, 8 से तो ज़्यादा ही है अपने।
HABNW came in and handled business.
Positioning points होते हैं, yes. मतलब first आने पे था, दूसरे आने पे था। Oh, it's the same. We got 20 points, the same as the first place team. If we would have won this, we would have been like 6 points ahead, I think. No, 3 points ahead of them.
8th and 10th on the leaderboard. We're going to
Right?
have a look at the series overall, though, Q, and have a look how it
3 or
looks
6.
after today.
Take a look at
And we
overall on the
are
leaderboard.
4th
Wolves Esports will be
in
able to
this.
come
तो
out
सिर्फ
on
Wolves
top.
अपने से
Dog
ऊपर है।
in, second with that 56. We'll see what that does for
But that
them.
means कि
When it comes to
ultra
pushing
super
up past
absolute
that top
overall standing में
22
तो हम
or
अभी
even
भी
into
number 1 है
regional
ना?
finals, HABNW in third, S8UL and Titan
क्योंकि Wolves हम
Esports
लोग से
Club rounding out your
17
top
point नीचे थी।
5. It is worth noting Veneno also coming up in that 6th spot. Those two last teams that I mentioned were two teams that we were keeping an eye on going
Wolves हम
into
लोग से
today,
17 point नीचे
both having
थी।
relatively strong performances.
So we get like
Very
the
strong.
points
We're
for
gonna have
like
a look
coming
at
4th today,
the
and
6
also
winners, and well, HAB and W getting the back-to-back,
the
which is
17
the
point
first
difference that we
time we've
already
seen that
had.
for a while, Q. So pretty
So I think we
well
would still
done
maintain
there by
first,
the
right?
lads of HAB and W, and I mean they have picked up Black Road now. Black Road, one of our very loyal
We would still
CC
be coming
players,
first,
and obviously
right?
now giving a shot here in Pro League and proving that he belongs here with 2 back-to-back
हो गया आज
wins.
का
We'll go
yes
and have a
Kronos,
look
आप
at
बहुत
the
जल्दी आए
kill
हो।
and damage leaders here,
Legacy
Phil, and
top
I guess
5 and
Kilo
kills,
starts it off
baby.
and finishes it off tonight.
Number 1
12,
spot with
13,
16,
14,
tied
16,
with Fafa
16.
Fif. Legacy from S8UL
भाई ये
in
फाफा फिफ
third,
बंदा तो
no
पहले
name,
2-3 मैच
and
में
7
इतना ही सारा केपेस ने
RVZ
उधर ही निकाल
rounding
दिया।
out the top 5 as far
Just
as
go in
kills. It is
top 5
one
and
from
damage,
the
yes, of
Wolves
course,
who will
as
be the
usual.
top damage getter. Not quite
Wolves
to
have
the
one more
10K,
day.
but
No, today's the
9.2.
last day. No, और कितना
Jesco,
दिन
no
बाकी है
name,
भाई?
Fafa Fif, and TEC
और
Refrain
दिन बाकी है?
rounding out your top 5 as far as for your damage getters.
कौन सा one
And
more day? अभी तो
I know
सीधा
we're
finals है ना?
compiling all the numbers in the back here, but I
एक और
do
दिन किधर है
believe
भाई?
we're just about ready. See what those
What are you saying?
leaderboards are
B
looking
versus
like
C
with
भी
one
बाकी है क्या?
match day left.
We'll go and see if it has loaded here. Or give it a refresh. It does.
We're at
There we go.
103,
So with
Wolves is at
6
98.
match days played, S8UL will lead the way.
30th
Only
मई को
by
भी एक है
5
क्या?
points, so not
पैंच
for
तो हम लोग
very
second आ
much
सकते
longer,
हैं
as
guys।
Wolves still
तो
have one more
नहीं।
match day to go.
हाँ,
And
तो आ सकते हैं। सेकंड आ सकते हैं फिर
as
हम
we
लोग ये
can
Wolves
see
और
as well,
PXX का
Havoc, that is where they
Chance
will
है.
finish with 82 points.
Wolves and
PXX are on
PXX ये
81
जॉब पे
with
सबसे
one more
पास है.
match day as well.
सेकंड आ सकते हैं हम लोग.
RRQ, well, they
But कोई
finish
बात
in
नहीं यार,
front
फिर
of
भी
Orchid and
क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
BCG and Aram. So they're safe,
Top
Q,
तो है
which
ही.
means at this point in
we
time,
will for sure. I feel like Apex
RRQ
we are like
we'll be heading to Paris. But now
definitely
remember,
in AWC.
I'm pretty sure the scores
यार
will
इसमें
change
कितने
also
सारे
with
orgs
regional
के जो
finals.
लोगोज
So
है सब खाना
it'll
है
be
यार.
interesting
कितना
to see. But we're going to have a look at Veneno
ऐसे
and
कौन टेम्प्ट करता है भाई?
TEC,
क्या
and we
खाने
said how
खाना है
close
भाई
it
इनके
was for them.
लोगोज.
For 6 match days, they are finishing 14th and
वीके का भी कुछ
15th.
भरोसा
But
नहीं
they
है.
still
हाइट्रिक्स
have
नहीं वैसा
Mama
नहीं
Clubs,
होता है ना, लेकिन like it's like
Rendang, HAB
it's like
and W. Dog Red.
they are 33 points behind
Two
us.
se-
So
there's a
even
lot
if
of
in
teams
the
on it.
entire day
You look at-
BCG
they
too.
come
You look at
first.
Dog Red
First
today,
place
they
is
now
25
all of a
points,
sudden
right?
are only
So
one
even
more
if VK
good
Gaming
block
come first and
away
take
from being
25
in that top
points,
20 for regionals.
they're still gonna be
Yeah,
below
for some
us.
reason, I was thinking Dog Red was in the group of
तो
teams in
भरोसा
Group
हो
A.
या
So that's
नहीं
my
हो, like it
mistake on
does
the day.
not
I kept
matter
saying how
because
was their
वो
last chance.
उस
But yeah,
दिन
big day for them
जो
now.
6
And
मैच खत्म हो गए,
all of
6
a
मैच के
sudden, not
बाद
only
उनका
are
जो ओवरऑल
you
स्टैंडिंग
probably
होगा वो
feeling
पर्टिकुलर डे
confident
का
about
उसके
not
बेसिस पे
having
पॉइंट्स
to work
बांटते
through
हैं. So जो
relegation,
फर्स्ट आएगा उनको
but like you
25
said,
पॉइंट
they could
मिलते हैं.
very well earn
ये वाले
themselves a
स्कोर बोर्ड
chance
में स्प्लिट
to get
पूरे
a
स्प्लिट के
spot in the
स्कोर बोर्ड
regional
में ऐड होते
finals,
हैं.
which means at that point, anyone can
So
win on the day
people that are
to
like
be able to
that
punch their
low,
ticket
like they're not
off to
really like a threat to
EWC. We had
overtake us,
mentioned
but
going
just
into
like
the
till
day
like
that it felt like where PXX
PXX,
was sitting was
there's
probably the
a chance
cutoff of
that we
what
might like
teams
come
feel
like
like
second or something.
is quote unquote
There's a
safe.
chance we might come
And I
second.
feel like that's probably
or
still
third.
safe to call that the
But that's
case,
fine.
right? Because you do
Because that's
have
still top.
VK Gaming that obviously
आज
still
और कौन
has
सी
a
वॉच
game to
पार्टी
play in the
यार
top
आज
10,
ना
but
वैलो के
you've
ना
also
इतने
got teams
मतलब
like Gen G,
मैं
EDG,
जो टीम्स
Team
के
Groovy,
मैचेस
all
देखती हूँ
teams who
मतलब
have
जिसमें भी
shown the
मेरे सब
ability to
फ्रेंड्स
put
है
up at
उसमें
least
से आज
top
सिर्फ
3
RNTX का है वो
finishes
लियोसन
that
के
can
अगेंस्ट
then
है तो
move
मैं
some
सोच
of
रही हूँ कि
those
एक बढ़िया सा
teams
नैप ले लेती हूँ शाम
on
को
down. So I
और
think
थोड़ा
for teams
रीसेट
who
हो जाती
are
हूँ कल
also
फ्रेश
Kakoi has
रहने
an
के
extra
लिए
match day
क्योंकि
still
मतलब
left
इतने
as
दिन से
well.
मैं ना
So
सोई नहीं हूँ रात को सिर्फ
I
4
think,
4 5 5 hours
RRQ, while feeling
maybe 4
somewhat
5
safe at
hours
the
this entire
76,
week I've
I
slept.
think that's still probably going to be borderline, and that's probably
सिर्फ
going to be the
ट्रैवल
line
और
that we're going to
इधर
be
उधर वही
keeping
सब
an
किया है
eye
मैंने.
on for the course of our next 2 match
So I
days.
think
Not
I
only our
might like
last
rest
match day
today
next
and
week,
come back
but
tomorrow
obviously
because
regional finals
RNTX
as
should
well.
be 2-0ing Leosin.
Yeah,
If they
100%.
don't,
And as
I'm
we
gonna
can
like
see,
personally
that
send
is where
galleys
it
to them on
looks as
WhatsApp. So
well after the 6
it should be
blocks
fine.
for the lads over at S8UL. And they'll be pretty happy with their 6.
So we're good. Now I think I should actually go to sleep willingly, voluntarily. इसके पहले तो मैं involuntarily बताने पीछे थोड़ा सा मेरे को लगा वाओ वहाँ से लेट के वॉच पार्टी करूँगी. पता नहीं वॉच और पार्टी दोनों ही नहीं हुआ, स्लीप हो गया कैसे तो. अच्छा सोई लेकिन मज़ा आया. हेलो निशांत, थैंक यू फॉर 100 डेज का क्या सीन है थोड़ा प्लीज एक्सप्लेन. अभी रीजनल फाइनल्स हो गए. रीजनल फाइनल्स का क्या फर्स्ट टीम और उसके नीचे के टॉप 8 क्वालिफाई होते हैं. वी आर क्वालिफाइड ब्रो, वी आर गोना क्वालिफाई. हम हो जाएंगे, टेंशन वेंशन मत लो. आप लोग भी सो जाओ संडे को, अभी और कुछ नहीं है देखने क्योंकि मैं सोने जा रही हूँ तो सब लोग सोने जाने चाहिए. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ट्यूनिंग इन गाइस, होप यू ऑल हैड फन. आई विल सी यू गाइस टुमारो सीधा, आज तो नहीं. I'ma go. Good nights. Take the cares. Love the yous. See yous. Stream like कर दो. Thank you. जून में भाई, मई कौन सा? रासेस जी. रासेस जी. फर्स्ट तो क्वालिफाई, फर्स्ट तो सीधा ही है, उसके बाद के नीचे टॉप 8. We're at 106.
There was no way
Or
that
did
we
they
were going to
update
be able to
something?
do it at.
Okay, gaming that obviously
Why are you guys saying 106? यहाँ पे 103 लिखा हुआ है.
One more game was making.
Are you gonna play Apex now? Yeah, I'm just
Send
gonna
these
go
guys
and like
home the
sleep
only
for a
way we
little
know
while.
how
और मैं
to.
अपने सपने में Apex
yeah, we
खेलने वाली
appreciate
हूँ
y'all
और
for tuning
जीतने
in,
वाली
man.
हूँ.
Until we catch you guys.
On website, oh, okay, तो यहाँ पे कुछ calculation हुआ होगा. Anyway, चलो. Good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys had fun. Stream like कर दो. कल मिलते हैं हम लोग वॉच पार्टी में वापस से शाम को. कल भी वैसे एक ही गेम का वॉच पार्टी है शाम के 6 बजे वाला, तो थोड़ा चिल सीन है. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you all had fun. का एक्सक्लेमेशन किक करके अगर तुम मुझे किक पे फॉलो करोगे तो आई एम प्लानिंग अ कैरियोके थिंग टुमारो वेयर आई सिंग एंड यू लिसन. सो इफ़ यू गाइस आर रेडी फॉर दैट तो तुम लोग मुझे किक फॉलो कर सकते हो और हम वहाँ पे गाने वाने सुन के थोड़ा वॉच पार्टी नहीं सिर्फ पार्टी करेंगे. ओके, Thank you so much for tuning in. See you. Love you guys. See ya.